Right, good evening ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the full council meeting on Monday the 10th of November. Start off our first agenda item, 25/6-103, to elect a chair of the council.
I would like to nominate Adrian because we need somebody non-contentious who can carry us forward and stick with the job. So I'll nominate Adrian.
I'd like to second that.
All in agreement?
No,
Oh,
I'd like to
no.
nominate, we should do it, Isabel. She's got previous experience and she's been on the council a long time.
We've got a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so can we have nominations for Adrian, in agreement for nominations for Adrian, please?
Votes for.
Votes for, yeah, votes for Adrian. 1, 2, 3. Are you abstaining or against?
I'll vote against. No offence, Adrian, it's just...
I'll vote against me because lack of experience on the council.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
the only
3,
reason.
3.
Yeah.
Adrian, he's got a vote, so he's got 3 and 3, so
What have I got there?
you can either abstain and then it goes to the next vote, or you can
I'll abstain.
abstain. Right, so we're on a draw on that one then. Okay, so nominations all in agreement for Isabel, please. 2. And are you against or against? Against 3. Adrian, what are you voting?
Against.
Against. Okay. Adrian, come and take your seat. Does anyone want their votes recorded? Yeah. Right, so what you'll do now, you're going to the next agenda item, it's just to elect your vice chair, so just that reference number out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So agenda number 25/6-104 to elect a vice chair of the council.
I would like to nominate Donna. I think she'd do a great job.
I would like to second that.
You've got to say all in agreement.
Anyone else?
Anyone?
Anyone in?
Do you actually want it on? What are your reaction? I just saw your face.
Well, yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all, because I don't think I've got enough time for that or experience.
Do you accept it? Do you want it?
We'd like you, Donna, because I think you'd be really good at this. And you'll grow into the job over time. And it isn't that taxing, because at the end of the day, all you have to do is chair the meeting when Adrian isn't here. Of course, he'll always be here. And you get a lot of support and guidance from Becky.
Yes.
I think you do.
Okay, I accept it.
Okay.
Get a vote of agreement off everybody.
A vote of agreement, please.
Voting for
Well,
Donna.
voting for-
Are you voting for
voting for
Donna to
Donna.
be vice chair?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2. Against or abstaining?
I'll be against.
Against.
I'll be against the same reason, age and lack of experience for the council.
1,
No.
3. You're in.
I mean,
Chair's casting vote.
I would vote for Paul
Yeah.
myself personally.
Don't want it.
Are
I
you?
propose Paul.
Paul doesn't want to. That's what you just said, didn't you?
I don't really want it, to be honest.
I like it because you're very level-headed and experienced, a lot of experience behind you.
And very experienced on this council and district.
Chair's casting vote.
Okay, 400.
I would prefer Paul because Paul's got a lot of experience.
Paul,
Yeah.
you happy with that?
Yeah.
I'll come back here.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Paul,
So
for
you're
Paul?
proposing Paul, are you?
Hmm?
You're proposing Paul?
No, I'll propose Paul.
You propose Paul. Who's going to...
I'm
Second.
happy. I'm happy with Paul.
Yeah. I think a bit of experience and I think
Have we got a second?
you need a bit of...
I'll second
Donna
it.
seconded it.
I'll second,
Yeah.
Yep.
All in agreement? Is everyone
Yep.
in agreement, yeah?
Yep.
You don't have to move, Paul, if you don't want to. You can stay where you are, yeah, you don't have to move.
Until Adrian packed up and walked out halfway through the meeting.
That happened
Right.
once. Yeah.
Okay, that was nice. Okay, so 25-6 105 to receive and accept apologies where valid reasons for absence has been given to the clerk prior to the meeting.
None received.
Okay. Item 256-106 declarations of interest. Receive declarations of interest under the Location Act 2011.
I have document interest
Okay. What one?
25/611.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to declare, the council are running the Christmas fair or whatever you call it. I have a stall on it, so obviously can't.
Yeah, no problem.
I would declare an interest for the same thing.
Yeah, no problem.
And all of mine are covered by dispensations are in place.
Yeah, okie doke. That's fine.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, 256-107 public forum. Invite members of the public to present their questions. Participation is limited to 15 minutes with each speaking permitted at 3 minutes. Ready?
Nicholas, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Council. It's just not a question, but it's just an observation, just to let you know, if you haven't noticed, the speed limit along Fleet Road from where you exit Holbeach up to the A17, those speed limits have now changed. So it's 30 miles an hour, then the 50 bits drop to 40, and then it's 30 again. If you just put that in the minutes, you might get more people know that, because there's no speed signs, because obviously the speed continues all the way through Holbeach now at 30 miles an hour. So that will be definitely enforced. Signs will change and coming to force in about 7 days.
Yeah, no problem.
Are there street lights?
Sorry? There are the street lights on that.
Less than 200 yards apart?
Yep.
That's an automatic 30 unless it's otherwise stated.
Yes, we know, but it
Yeah.
used to be 40, and so people, local people still think it's 40, but of course it's not, because of what you just stated.
Yeah.
So, but there are no speed signs to remind them.
Anyone else? Hang on.
Councillors, good evening. I join you at the end of another shambolic month for Holbeach Parish Council. I'm not going to mince my words, I've only got 3 minutes to speak. This is a short statement, I would appreciate a response at the end of it. I'm noting from the agenda this evening 2 items which represent exemplary value for taxpayer money as per usual. 256117 to instruct a criminal law specialist to assess councillor conduct issues posing legal or financial risks to the council, and to consider a resolve to agree issuing a formal apology to a member of the public affected by unsatisfactory conduct at a recent council meeting. Of course, I was having a chat with a gentleman before the commencement of the meeting this evening about when it was time to draw a full stop or a line in the sand for the council to move forward and actually work to deliver value for taxpayer money. Of course, that line in the sand appears to have been drawn on numerous previous occasions. To read from the Spalding Voice articles over the last 4 years, Council raised concerns raised over bids to lower parish council numbers amid more infighting. Councillor stepped down. Holbeach Parish Council declares truce during heated extraordinary meeting. More infighting at the parish council. Council looks to future after issues. Of course, we have the resignation of the deputy clerk, who resigned, retracted their resignation, and then resigned again. One can only imagine, of course, as a matter of opinion, why that was. Council kicked out over event. Carol Isabel Hutchinson may sue Holbeach Parish Council after daughter Sophie is removed from committee. Sophie Hutchinson delivered a speech at Holbeach Parish Council accusing the authority of not giving a shit about her well-being. The list goes on. There are many more than what I have just said. And of course, we have the recent images taken from YouTube of a certain councillor deciding to remain seated under an umbrella to prevent members of the public from their, well, in essence, constitutional right to film these meetings. Of course, that is also in statute. And to read from some of the comments on the latest resignation posts to the parish council, of course, 4 in the last 14 days. You as a committee are a joke and an embarrassment to our town. The continued resignations and inviting as a joke, we deserve better. The former vice chair herself, Sue McKendry, stated disgraceful. The way this council operates, or indeed lacked to operate over the last 4 years, has been nothing short of abysmal. The value for taxpayer money cannot be existent. It cannot represent value for taxpayer money the way that this council operates. And I would appreciate it if the council could inform me, and indeed the other parishioners, as I'm sure this meeting will be minutes and published, when the final line in the sand will be drawn and the council actually moves forward. And to quote, forgive me, the councillor gentleman in the corner, I don't know your name. I did write down your comments that you made. Of course, you probably thought they were funny, I certainly didn't. Until Adrian packs up and walks out, as he has before. Well, that seems to be a common occurrence for this council, doesn't it? Councillors walking out, meetings not being quorate, and therefore them being abandoned. I would like to know the council's position on this.
So you can comment, or you can say anything later on. You can take details, and we can write an email and
I
respond.
apologise to put you on the spot. I know you've just been elected.
Right, okay,
Good
so
luck to you. But
yeah, so I've only been in the parish a year. I moved from Essex, and what you say, I'm not going to deny it's correct, right? And the reason I believe people have put me forward to this is because half the reason you just stated, there is issues in the room. There is certain councillors that don't like other councillors. There's lots of politics going on. And I'm hoping to get the councillors working together and to resolve this. I can only do my best. I can't promise what I can't. I'll do my best. And I believe it's probably my inexperience that might actually help out there. I've got some great people around me that will give me advice and stuff, but I apologise and I'll do my best going forward to resolve these matters.
may I respond or not?
Of course.
Only just to say that good luck to you. Obviously, you've just moved to the area, but for the rest of the council, you're thoroughly on a number of parishioners' radar, including myself, moving forward. That this will be a reoccurring theme if it doesn't change. Thank you, sir.
Carry on.
Wonderful. I will stand because it's easier to read. I'd like to read a statement, please. Chairman, fellow councillors and members of the public, I speak this evening out of a genuine concern for behaviour that falls below the standards the public rightfully expect of those in elected office. At the last meeting of Holbeach Parish Council, the conduct of Councillor Timothy Wiltshire towards a member of public before the start of the public forum was wholly unacceptable. In full view of councillors and residents, his tone and manner were aggressive and intimidating. Such behaviour has no place in public life. Every councillor has a duty to act within restraint, courtesy and respect, especially when engaging with members of the public who take their time to attend our meetings. The Holbeach Parish Council Code of Conduct, April 2022, makes this responsibility clear. Councillors must treat others with respect, act politely and courtesy at all times, not bully, harass or intimidate any person. Avoid bringing their role or the council into disrepute. These are not optional guidelines. They are the foundation and integrity of public trust. Regrettably, concerns about conduct have not been confined to the council chamber. At yesterday's Remembrance Parade, remarks were made to me by Councillor Wiltshire that were of a personal in nature, implying criticism of my appearance and manner of dress in a way that sought to belittle rather than engage respectfully. Such comments were entirely inappropriate, particularly as an event held to honour those who have served and sacrificed for our country. I sincerely hope that similar remarks were not directed towards any of our veterans, service personnel or members of the public present that day. Public service demands self-control, dignity and integrity. Personal and public aggression undermines those principles in which diminish the respect of this council. Therefore, I formally call for a full and public apology from Councillor Timothy Wiltshire, to the parishioner involved in the earlier incident, to this council and to the residents of Holbeach. I also ask that this matter be properly recorded in the minutes and that refresher training on the code of conduct to be arranged for all councillors. Finally, given these repeated lapses in judgment and respect, I must ask whether Councillor Wiltshire's position on this council remains tenable. The people of Holbeach expect representatives who conduct themselves with dignity, integrity and respect. These virtues are not optional. They are the foundation of public service and the standards by which every councillor should be judged. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
May I comment on that?
Of course.
I did not witness the incident, or the two incidents he referred to in particular. But everything else you said, I totally agree with. I endorse his comments.
Thank you, Councillor.
Anyone else got anything to say?
Yeah, I was here and I did witness the incident. And it alarmed me as much as it alarmed anybody else. I do, however, wish to point out that it did not take place during a council meeting. And I don't think you can hold the council in general to account for it, any more than you can hold the church to account because we were holding a meeting in church premises. It was a virtually a private situation where one of the councillors, before the meeting started, I don't know what colour of him, but he behaved in a highly inappropriate manner, and hoping not does it again. But I don't think that we can blame the parish for what happened.
I wasn't blaming the parish councillor, I was asking that he apologises
He should.
towards the individual and to the council that he represents. That his conduct at all times, regardless in a meeting or outside the meeting, should uphold the virtues of being a councillor.
Can't argue with that.
Okay. Has anyone else got anything to say? Tim, would you like to comment at all?
No comment.
Right.
Sorry, Chairman, I wasn't meaning to talk at this precise moment in time, but I am, as a member of the public currently,
Yes.
I can't understand how something can be said in such a verbose and polite manner and not be answered. I know that the Chair has no control over the ability to answer a question, but as a member of the public of Holbeach, do they not deserve to hear some form of acknowledgement, at least if no apology, an acknowledgement of what they have said to be minuted by the Deputy Clerk?
In that case, I acknowledge what you're saying. I would like to, we look at the situation between us and we'll try and come up with some sort of public reply to it. At this point in time, I need to discuss the matter.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? No. Right. Item 256108, reports from elected members. To receive reports of elected members of Lincolnshire County Council and South Holland District Council. To receive a report from Clergyman P. Savoury from Holbeach
Just
Parish.
one at a time. Let's do that first one first.
Sorry.
Sophie
Do
might,
apologise.
Sophie might have a report.
To receive reports of elected members of Lincolnshire County Council and South Holland District Council.
Yeah, it's Thomas straight
So,
ahead.
Nottingham County Council,
Yes.
I stand by my statement calling on Councillor Wiltshire to apologise and to also ask, is his position within this council tenable? Secondly, the refuge has been put in at the top of Holbeach Academy, and so the road is back open. So hopefully that will then protect our young people from crossing the road. I believe the A17 is still having work done on it, so that should be done soon. I do apologise, it's my fault that we've got brand new material put in, not second-hand stuff, and that's why it's taken a bit longer and we have to close the road. But we're hoping it's going to have at least a 40-year lifespan, not the up to 20 of the cheap stuff. There are other things going on that I'm working with, and hopefully by next month I will have some good news to put across to you all. But until then, I'll finish there and hand over to the District Councillor.
Okay.
So not too much to be honest this month. We've had the update regarding local government reorganisation, but at the moment that is pretty much confidential from what we've been given. So there will be more information coming out about that soon. As I stated at the last meeting, if council does want any asset transfers or anything like that, or information or discussions, then that can be fed up the chain, and we can have direct discussions with portfolio holders regarding that. Planning, I know there is the application in for the car wash, which a lot of people have concerns on. I haven't had a look at that, although a lot of the concerns that members of the public and other councillors have raised are probably more trading standards or outside of planning issues, to be honest. So I will have a look and see whether there's any scope, but with my sort of planning background on it, probably will be an acceptable use. So yeah, but other than that, not much more really to report on at the moment. There's a few bits working on in the background that I hope we should be able to report on soon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 2, to receive a report from clergyman P. Savoury for the voluntary car service.
Yeah. Right, there was a meeting of the South Holland Voluntary Car Scheme trustees on Wednesday the 30th of October this year. Our new chairman, Granville Hawkes, took the chair and a number of items were discussed. The main one being, one, the accounts. Although appearing in the healthy position at the present time, a projection to the end of the financial year suggests otherwise, following an increase in usage. Our donation for this year of £3,461.42, but it is more likely to be cost in the region of £5,000 per hour. The formula for this is one that Lincolnshire County Council uses, but nobody there understands it or how it is put together. Some other parishes are in the same position, and therefore they are asking if these parishes can make up some of the shortfall. It was noted that any parish which do not participate in the scheme will still collect, but no subsidies are given. So there's certain parishes that are not paying towards it, they're not involved. So anybody using the scheme has to pay the full price, where we subsidise it.
Okay.
There was a further discussion on web usage and design, but nothing really decided. There was again a getting on more drivers, and the fact that we are doing mainly medical appointments and hardly anything else, i.e. shops, etc. When it was set up, there was a pension to get there and to say we're going to shops and this thing, nearly everything now is medical, all the course. There is also the normal comment, we need more drivers. We've had a couple join us, but we need more drivers. Well, that is the highlights of the thing. The biggest worry is the budget at the moment.
Okay.
And we're one of the biggest, besides Savon, we're one of the biggest contributors.
Okay, thank you. Anyone?
Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Next, item 256, 109, minutes to approve as a contract record the notes of the meetings of the council held on the 13th of October 2025 and 27th of October 2025.
We need a proposer and a seconder, and then all in agreement to sign.
Second.
Seconded,
We need to say all in agreement.
All in agreement? There you go.
Okay, you just got to sign the line. So put your initials at the bottom there. It's on each page. So. And then you're going to sign their date. It has it today. initial. And same with this one. There's two sets of just initials down there. Yeah, and just sign it. Just sign it.
It's
The
the
10th. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
Everyone okay? Right, 25/6/2010 to receive a report from the clerk.
So I will be stepping down, I'm not retracting this time, from the role as Deputy Clerk to Holbeach Parish Council on the 30th of November 2025. This decision marks the end of a challenging and transitional period for the Council. During my time in post, I've remained focused on maintaining professional standards, ensuring clarity in Council communications and supporting the delivery of core responsibilities. I'm proud of the work I've undertaken and the principles I've upheld. As I prepare to hand over, my priority remains ensuring a smooth and orderly transition. Thank you to those who have supported my efforts, and I now look forward to new opportunities beyond this role.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the work you've done. Well done.
I'd like to propose thanks and a congratulations to our Deputy Clerk on the work he's done, especially recently when it's been absolutely horrendous for us.
Indeed.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Is everybody in agreement on that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agree.
Right, to receive an update on vacancies.
So we've got Town Ward has 7, Herne Ward has 2 and Drove Ward has 2.
Thank you. Number 3, to resolve to agree to co-options as submitted.
Okay, so we have received a co-option from Sam Richardson, so you're going to ask him to stand up and
Would you like to
chat
stand
about
up and
that.
state why you'd like to join
Like
us?
you've done before.
Yeah, like I did 3 weeks ago.
Good afternoon, some of you know me, some of you don't. I am Holbeach born and bred. I have lived here all my life. My family are from Holbeach. I am a proud Holbeachian. I was part of the council 3 years ago, or something around there. Enjoyed the time, but found that things were not necessarily the right for me at the time. But after seeing and hearing from some of the parishioners and the people who are around, I think it's time to come back and offer a steady hand, somebody who has knowledge of the town and the people of it. And this is why I would like to join the council again.
Thank you.
I propose acceptance.
There you go.
Mr Chairman, can you record my vote against, please?
Right, thanks. Is that agenda there, Sam?
Thank you. Right, item 256111, Finance and Admin Committee, to note the bank balances as of the 31st of October 2025.
So you've got to do is read each one. And the current account ending 4844.
Okay. Account ending 4844, £3,000. Account ending 5394, £24,000, 107.12. Account ending 0001 PC, 492,265.38.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good.
Yeah. On to your next one.
To resolve to agree the payments for October 2025 and to note the income for October 2025.
Read out the amount. So the payments are that amount.
Okay, payments of October 2025, 36,759.69.
And then the income.
And the income of 3,694.50.
That's it. On to your next one.
Right, okay. Item number 3, to resolve and agree to elect members of the committee.
You need to agree those payments.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was my fault. Yeah, sorry. Proposer and seconder.
Proposal and seconder for the payments.
I propose.
Second,
Thank you.
All in agreement.
All in agreement? Thank you. Right, item number 3, to resolve and agree to elect members to the committee. Anyone want to join?
The only thing I'll say at the moment is, obviously as people have gathered, Becky's leaving, our current clerk is off sick. We were going to be having to do an interim solution, which may likely involve a locum clerk, which probably won't be full time. We've currently got very little councillors. I wouldn't want anybody to force themselves onto committees and burn out just because we're trying to function with committees. There is no reason why items can't come to council if that would be easier at this point in time, because the likelihood is we want whoever is appointed to acting clerk to be able to focus on the important things of delivery that we really need to do, rather than just sitting meetings for meeting's sake. So if there are core things council would want to cover, by all means try and cover them, but I wouldn't try and force yourself to do committees at this point in time if we don't need to, and then we can revisit it once things are settled down. Hopefully we've got more members.
Okay. Is there anyone that wanted to join the committee? No? Okay, move on.
Yeah.
Right. Right, item number 4, to resolve to agree the addition of designated members of the council's bank mandate. Nothing? No? Isabel?
Well, I asked for this. It's really important. You currently have 2 people that are actually designated, no, sorry, 3 that are signatories to the bank account, which is not enough. It takes forever and a day to get anybody onto a mandate with the bank system, so we need to be getting that sorted out, because obviously we are going to need to do payments and authorised payments now. You have to have 2 people to authorise, and currently you've only got 3. So if one of those goes AWOL, or 2 go AWOL, you can't authorise your payments. So the more we can get on there, the better. But they need to be people that are likely to stay, and not decide that after 2 weeks they're going to leave the council, because else we'll have to do it all over again. Because we've only just agreed to put certain people onto the mandate, those people have now left, which has left us in this situation. So we do need to have people put on there, but they need to be reliable people.
Okay, does anyone want to? No? No? Isabel? No?
Can't force people to go on, but
You have to be part of the committee to do that, yeah?
No, so at the moment I believe it's myself, Tim and Peter Stover on the Barclays one, and then we've got the CCLA one, which is our savings, which is Isabel and
Peter's on there, I think.
Peter.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I'm happy to be put on there if you want.
I mean, if anybody already banks with Barclays, it's brilliant because it's a lot quicker to get you on there.
I'll bank with Barclays.
What about Vice Chairman?
Yeah.
Paul?
yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you already bank with Barclays?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not easier. A lot easier.
I'll propose Adrian and Paula.
I'll take them both.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've got to get all in agreement. as
All
well.
in agreement? There you go. Right, item number 5. To consider the draft budget for 2026 to 2027 and recommend amendments.
Should all have copies in front of you.
Does anyone want to comment?
I would like, just one comment, I haven't found it on here, but the voluntary card scheme I would like re-examined.
Okay.
Following my report just now, I'd like that re-examined.
You've got to choose.
Yep.
Just a couple of things on here. I see that pest control is going up by £1,500 from £500 from last year. The tractor shed is £43,000 coming out of the budget, our bank account money, and then £5,000 from the money that's going to come from the parishioners. The toilets is another 19,000. The nature reserve is 12,000. The locking and unlocking of the gates is £2,500 more than last year. £60,000 increase in wage, but I'm aware that this is due to not mismanagement but errors in the past, so this is just aligning, which possibly would be good for the people to be aware, because when I saw it, I thought 30% increase is quite a large amount for, as working in the school, I get 3%, and then I saw 30%, it's a bit of an issue, especially when people haven't got any money. And then there was a £3,000 office cleaning, which I couldn't quite understand. £6,500 increase in training, which is brilliant as long as everybody's actually taking up the training, but I'm aware that councillors in the past very rarely have done. So I'm just wondering if that. £9,000 in professional fees, which I assume is from that gentleman there, which you're thinking is going to be for the criminal solicitor. The cemetery chapel, which I can't quite get my head around that money, because there seems to be money spent and then money not spent. And then one thing that I did notice is there's only £1,000 allocated to events for next year, where there was it 10 or 12 for the year previous, which I can't quite get my head around that. And then £37,000 total for tree work, which there's a lot of trees in Holbeach. I can't get my head around that one either. 10,000 was allocated for last year for CCTV that we didn't see put in. There's £10,000 being spent this year, but that's not coming out of the money coming. So there's that just £10,000 that was saved to do the CCTV, and then £8,000 for elections, which, as we're all kind of in a situation where it's co-opted and we're 16 members short or whatever, one would assume that elections are probably not going to cost £8,000. So all in all, that's quite a large increase on things that I'm sure the people and myself and possibly other councillors who aren't aware of where that money and why it's being spent, and is it being spent wisely. I apologise for such a large diatribe on your first little bit, and that's just what I looked at half an hour before the meeting.
I've got a few things as well, but Tim?
In view of the late arrival of this and the lack of time to go through the detail that we need to do, I move that we defer this to next month and deal with this next month after we've had time to examine it in proper detail and go through it. As Councillor stated, there are plenty of anomalies I don't want dealing with.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? What did you say? What did you just say?
I said as our new councillor.
Thank you.
Yes, so that's the situation. It's the case there are issues and anomalies here that need addressing, which I don't think we're going to do unless we're going to spend until about 3 o'clock in the morning to go through in detail. So I move that we defer this and take the interim time to resolve it and come back next month about dealing with it properly. That's I propose that.
It's not a decision anyway, it's just to look at it tonight. It's actually not a resolve to agree, it's just to look at it and have any options.
I thought a decision had been made.
No, it's just to consider.
And recommend amendments, I think.
Yeah, it's just a look over.
Okay. So we'll look over that. As I said, I've got a few items. I think you've brought up a few of the events come to my head as well straight away. You know, anyone can limit it. I'm big on events. I wanna make the events bigger. I certainly don't want a smaller budget to do it. We can look at it. That's what it's about. It's a discussion.
I was just wanting to answer some of Councillor Richardson's questions. Some of the figures that you are referring to are in earmark reserves. So they're not being budgeted for as such. The budget is in the blue column.
Yes, which I looked at,
Which is the bit that we'll be asking parishioners for. And there are things in there that have increased and some that have decreased. They are just figures that we are trying to work with. Some of the committees have met and have discussed what things they are looking to do. Some haven't. So with regard to the events in particular, obviously the events committee didn't put these figures forward.
Right.
So because they didn't meet beforehand. But I noticed that you're saying it's only £1,000 in events. It's not. You've still got different events split out at this stage. yes, they're less, but it's up for discussion. If you've got things that you want to do, you have to put them forward, the same as other things, you know, like in open spaces that I've been involved in. If we wanting to do major works within the park, we're going to have to put that forward. But we have also got to be mindful that if we do said things, it's going to increase the precept dramatically, and the public are not going to be happy with that. So therefore, it's a balancing act. We can't just keep throwing money at it and say, oh, but your council tax is going to go up by 30%. People are not going to be happy with that. So it's a balancing act. And yes, we can look at it. It's got to be brought back next month, absolutely. But we have to set this budget latest in January. So you haven't got long.
Yeah, I think just going through this, there is a lot that still needs sorting out, that's the point. We were at the point where we hadn't put together any budget, to be honest. Some committees have met to discuss things, but not many. It's got very late in the year. And there's an awful lot that I know we all want to move forward on and deliver. We need to balance out what we're going to do and what is actually achievable, because what I really don't want to do is put money in the budget for something and then we can't actually do it, or we don't do it, because that's the worst thing to do. What has been suggested, and I think would be useful, given we're probably not going to have many committee meetings in between because we've not really got any committees, if we did want to do a bit more of a deep dive and everybody around the table, it would mean either an informal or an extraordinary meeting or something like that. I think there's several people who probably need to go through it in more detail and have a bit more training on how this was all set up. The earmark reserves is not accurate as of this date because some of that's actually already been spent or is already committed for certain things. It's just there for, there's no point budgeting for something if you've already got it in savings. So we shouldn't really be doubling up on things. But I think it would be worth us all getting round a table separate to a proper meeting with other things going on. This was kind of just brought as, this is where we've got to at this stage. We need to discuss it more. If we've got ideas for recommendations for changes, now's the time to start working through and drilling it down in a bit more detail.
Can we, because it's all listed separate, for instance, events, you've got all your different, can we just use one pot? Obviously, budget, you know what you need for each event, but just put it in a pot and just draw from one pot and so that, can it work that way or not?
Yeah, I've answered yes, you can. Another thing that we're doing with this budget, if anybody's seen our current budget, it's a lot more budget codes, it's complicated, there's a lot of stuff, it's basically a mess. So within this we're also trying to do basically a new chart of accounts. So the really important thing to get right at this stage is committees and officers only have delegated authority if there's a budget available. If we try and split it down too much, then okay, you might have repairs and maintenance for Carter's Park, but if you've got something in Netherfield, they can't transfer that budget unless it comes to council,
Right.
which is ridiculous. So it's about also getting that right so things can run smoothly in the future as well. So yes, if we do want to put it into one event's budget, by all means we can do.
Just make it
this is kind of like an interim proposal and then we can work through it, but we've got to do it quickly.
It'd just be up to the committee. You've got to just obviously be careful of your spend during the year for your events because you could get to the Christmas fair and not have,
But if it just stayed in one pot and not like separate all this.
You'd eradicate having to get authority to transfer,
But obviously you need to budget for each event.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No? Right. Item number 6, to resolve to agree for employee salaries to be set up March 2026.
This is just a contingency plan, obviously, with me leaving and you haven't got anyone in yet. So obviously they're budgeted, you know, up to, so I just want to set them up so they're ready to go through each month until March so that you don't lose any of your employees. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'll propose that.
Hi, is that second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Item number 7, to resolve to agree to move £1,300 from the fuel budget to repairs and maintenance budget for open spaces.
question. Have we got the £1,300 spare that we can say that we will not need until the April, May, when we get the next
I doubt
free
it.
cash in?
Absolutely not.
Say I doubt it. You're going to be close on your budgets this year. You're in a bit of dire straits at the moment, so yeah.
That is my first question, because, you know, to move that over, you want it.
Yeah, it's moving
Right,
over because we're not going to spend that much fuel, so we've seen that. So, but we're putting it over into an area that's not got enough money to keep the machinery going for the park team. So it's a
Well,
commercial.
That's the answer to my question. I propose that we do it.
Yeah.
Second? Sorry.
Just got a question.
Okay, so that's the agenda item that we've got. But obviously, as you all know, we did send you out a load of guff over the weekend, which we appreciate. You didn't have a lot of time to look at, but it is very important in that currently you have got budgets that are overspent. And that means that those budgets can no longer have any spending in them unless we agree to move some more budget over. We've got to find the money from somewhere, as you've got parks team that can't have any supplies. Their maintenance of their vehicles is not over budget currently, but we've got servicing of all the vehicles coming up in December, which we haven't got the budget for. So we've got to make some budget movements. Now, we have drafted a load of stuff. Now, I know there's argument about whether that's the right way of doing it or not, or what, but somehow, we have got to move some money over, and we've got to do it very quickly. Because if not, you've got people that can't do their jobs.
Tim?
I would like to propose that, as I was saying, because you're quite right. If she hasn't got the money to be able to do this, she needs to pull it from somewhere, and the fuel budget seems about as good a place as any. And it's in her own thing, so.
You're going to come back on that one. Sorry, Sam. I'm just...
As you seem to know the finances exceptionally well, is there anywhere that you would advise that there is a surplus of money? I know surplus should not be a word that is bandied around, but is there anywhere where there is money that can be allocated which possibly doesn't come from the fuel budget, that might have another increase shortly, as we don't know what the government's going to do, or something where you would advise the council to remove the money?
Sophie?
Sorry, it won't be a short answer. Apologies. So going through the budget, we went basically through line by line where we were at, and it's probably worse now because you've got some additional payments that have got to be made. You've got really, putting it nicely, about 40 grand deficit in a lot of areas. So we went through every single budget line to see where you're basically overspending. Part of that is because some things were just never budgeted for, like the outgoings for Coomber Chambers. And then went through line by line to find surpluses. Now, the way we looked at, and I sort of thought about surplus, is either income that we've generated more income than we budgeted for, because that's a genuine surplus. Things that either are not happening or have already happened and there's money left over, so we've already gone past that point, and that's a genuine surplus. And then those surpluses only came to about 20,000, 17,000-ish. So that's not going to cover your deficit. So then it includes movement from some earmarked reserves as well that we've got allocated. There are a few extras that we probably will need to do as well, like the phone and broadband, stationery, bits and pieces like that. Repairs and maintenance for open spaces is going to need more because we've got money coming out this month. Same with repairs and maintenance for machinery, we've got servicing coming in December, so even if we do move the recommended amounts now, we will be in deficit in a month's time, which makes it very difficult. So in terms of the actual budget movements that have been put forward, we've got property rent Coombe, none of the rent was budgeted for, so all that rent is a surplus. So we've got £4,700 going to net pay.
Sorry, how much was that, sorry?
£4,700. Reason net pay needs money is because basically we didn't budget for the right number of staff or etc. and things have changed, particularly a third groundskeeper to cover the grass cutting contract that we had. £10,000 from earmark reserves for HR going to net pay. And then, I know it's controversial among some, but the £3,000 for the picnic in the parks that haven't happened to net pay. Then electricity park bungalow, again, none of that was budgeted for, so that's always in a deficit. So £500 for the 10k run, which hasn't happened, to electricity park bungalow. The same with council tax park bungalow, that wasn't budgeted for, that's significantly over. So £2,500 from drive and movie, which again was budgeted for, hasn't happened, to council tax park bungalow. Then repairs and maintenance of plant and machinery, this will cover the current deficit but won't cover moving forwards. From VE Day, that event has happened, the spend is done, and there was surplus left over. So the surplus is £1,353.19p to plant and machinery. Then we've got various different bits of bank interest, that about £500 basically of bank interest that is over and above what we budgeted for. So that is suggested to go to repairs and maintenance for open spaces. Again, that will cover some of the deficit, but you've got more payments that we've just agreed. £750 from the calendar, which we haven't done the calendar. We're too late for the calendar now, because, you know, happened. To vehicle insurance, because again, we've got additional vehicles that we're not budgeted for. You see the repetition. And then the battlefields, the purchase of that, there was additional fees from this solicitor that were over and above what was in the earmark reserves for. So, but we are going to have a surplus from the allotment rent we would have been paying in battlefields. So that can cover that. Along with a budget for PRS, which I still have no idea what it was intended for, but it's not been used, to cover battlefields of £1,000. And then we've got all of the outgoings for Coombro, cleaning, electricity, gas, business rates, none of which were budgeted for again. So that we have got £10,000 in earmark reserves for offices, which was put there because we knew we hadn't budgeted for it. And there we go.
So my question has got to be, I think, why are these things not budgeted for? And where is the accountability? And how is this
So who's going to answer that one?
How,
You.
no, nobody puts hands up. And how is it not going to happen again next year? Would be my first thing. And when I joined the council 3 or 4 years ago, Sophie was instrumental in the creating of these subcommittees, which helped because the council was running incorrectly, I believe. I don't want to be a bit wrong at the time. So Councillor Hutchison, who always appears to put an awful lot of effort into this, more than I would expect anybody to be able to do from a voluntary position. But would it be appropriate for the subcommittees who don't appear to know how to budget properly, for the budgets to be done within full council, rather than give people who don't know necessarily what they're doing the ability to budget what they don't know?
It comes to full council anyway for agreement.
But obviously there has been full council agreement on budgets and the money has not been allocated properly, budgeted properly or used properly. That would be my question. Sorry. I'm new, there's so many questions.
Can I come back on the why did it happen? Why did it happen? Because we were presented with a budget at the meeting where we were setting said budget, plonked in front of us on the night and said, agree this. None of us had, or those of us that were not on committees at the time, had no time to look at said budget. We had no ability to ask any questions about said budget. It was presented as a fait accompli, and therefore certain people made decisions that have now left us basically in a mess. And to put the record straight, both myself and Sophie voted against said budget because we knew full well that it wasn't a good budget. Just by looking at it that evening, we could tell it was not going to work, and now here we are. We've got halfway through a year and we're in a mess. So that's your explanation.
Any other comments?
Yeah. Earlier on, I think it's Sophie suggested we look at this in detail at a following.
Yes.
Once we've gone through the budget, I would like to see that happen now because it is complicated, and we all need time to read. Listening to Councillor Hutchinson, it's because this didn't happen last year and we've just got the figures dumped on us.
Yeah.
Now I would like us all to have time to look at it and bring it back. Whether it be an extraordinary general meeting, if the clerk is in agreement. I know how
No, I'm not
busy
doing
it
any
is.
more.
We're trying.
Or
It's fine.
whether it be at the next council meeting next month. But it's got to be agreed, but it's got to be gone through with a fine tooth comb.
I have added, and Sophie is aware of this, that your budget lines need, if you've got a public member looking at it, they need to know what it means, because some of your budget lines it's not transparent enough for your public members. They're not going to know,
It's just
so
that I'd like to endorse Councillor Hutchinson's suggestion that we at least sit down and look at it before we make any sort of decision. Except that let her have that £1,300 as a stop gap for one item.
That £1,300 is not going to solve the
No,
problem.
it's a sticking plaster, isn't it?
It will, you can take it from fuel, but you're going to have to then replenish fuel. Yes, it will go to open spaces, repairs and maintenance, which will get us through this month, potentially, but next month you're going to be back to the same situation. And you already, as we've just highlighted, you've got other deficits that we are not even thinking about tonight by that proposal. The proposal that we've put together, or the idea that we've put together over this weekend, I know you haven't had time to look at it, and if you want to defer it, then you defer it, but then that means, basically, that you have not got the ability to purchase various items between now and when we meet. You just can't do it.
Tim?
Question has to be asked therefore, is why was this agenda item raised in any event? If it was only a sticking plaster, it was never going to resolve any issues. I've proposed that we go along with Councillor Isabel's proposal, but nobody seems to want to do that. Why was it put on as an agenda item in the first place?
that's all we knew at the time until obviously we'd gone more in depth with it. So, and obviously the agenda item's already gone out. So,
Sorry. Can we alter the agenda? I can't remember what the rules are. We can alter the agenda, then that's what we need to do, isn't it? Yes! There we go,
That's the
Chairman.
one.
This is your first big thing.
Jump to it.
Yeah.
is that your proposal, Sam?
I propose.
There you go. There you go.
I propose to change agenda item, what is it? 256111, number 7. Was that proper?
Yeah.
What are you changing it to? Sam?
I don't know. Whatever Councillor Hutchinson tells us to do, because she's
Do
cleverer
you
than
want me
I
to
am.
put the words together?
Yes, please.
Okay, so first item, before we go on to discussion, propose to amend the agenda item to basically agree budget movements generally.
Yes.
Yeah.
First one, I think.
Yeah, I'll make
I've
that.
got an issue with that. At the end of the day, the budget movements have to come back to full council before they're approved. They can't be approved, but can't be dealt with by the finance officer on their own. Acting alone.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that at the moment it specifies there's a particular budget movement to make. So the agenda item, before we get to the decision, so not the resolution but the question as it were, is to resolve to agree budget movements.
Mm-hmm.
To
That's
which we
what
will then decide what said budget movements are.
Yes, that's what I propose.
Yep.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Again, I've got the issue of this is all too short notice. We need more time. My proposal is still to defer the whole thing until next month.
Is there a second on the deferral?
You've had a second on the proposal.
Yeah, you've had a second on the proposal.
You have to do the first one first.
Yeah.
First one then. Anyone who agrees?
1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah. Tim, are you against or
Against.
abstain? Do you want that recorded?
Yes, please.
There we go. Good selection.
Next.
Yep. Right, next item 256
Sorry, we've got to agree the budget.
sorry,
Apologies. So I appreciate I read out, I think everybody has got a copy of it on the table, of the proposed budget movements. Now, as I've explained, it's basically from genuine surpluses to things that do need money. However, from going through the payments that we've just agreed, you're also going to need basically some more for repairs and maintenance to machinery, some more for repairs and maintenance to open spaces, stationery, and phone and broadband, pretty much, is the extra bits and pieces. So, from understanding the budget, what I would suggest to cover those additional bits is postage, which we hardly use any postage, goes to stationery. That's a nice simple one, hopefully not controversial. And then I believe we've spent some money out of contingency, correct me if I'm wrong, Becky, but we should have some remaining
Yeah.
to potentially cover phone and broadband and a bit more to repairs and maintenance, open spaces and machinery.
Yeah.
So I would suggest using the rest of the contingency split between those three budgets appropriately to cover those.
Would you
Do
say?
you foresee this stemming the flow? Will it see the council through until April when we go through?
No. So we're 6 months down the line, and if you've already overspent on your budgets and you're 6 months through,
It's going to be
you
there by
can
the end.
imagine the mirrored amount of expenditure for the rest of the months. What I would say is you're going to have a significant spend on those budgets that have not been budgeted for at all. There may be decisions around projects which might change the spending moving forward, particularly to some of the properties. There is also income that we haven't budgeted for but we are generating. So my thoughts would be that the income that we are generating for Coombe can keep going on paying for Coombe, if that makes sense. But the other problem will also be, yes, okay, this covers some of the expenditure at the moment, but there's also income budgets that have been overestimated. So we will most likely need to review earmark reserves and potentially our general reserves as well, and dip into savings to be able to cover that. So what I'm basically suggesting is this will cover what we need to do to be able to function, but I appreciate a lot of members probably don't have a full understanding of the budget. So what I'd rather do moving forward for the rest of the year is again have a proper discussion, so everybody can sit around the table and we can work this out moving forward together, rather than just a couple of people having to put forward an emergency sticking plaster. So yes, it's not all lovely, unfortunately.
I propose that we follow Councillor Hutchinson's advice.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Definitely. All in favour? There you go. Anything else for that?
Yeah.
Right, where were we? Open space.
You probably won't need to do that.
Alright, 256 112 Open Spaces Committee to resolve and agree to elect members to the committee. Anyone want to join Open Spaces? Yes?
Yes, please.
I would like to join Open Spaces. Just two. Anyone else?
Any more on
At least you call it now, so.
Would you propose proposer and a seconder.
Proposal?
I propose both Sam and Aidan.
Second, yeah.
Oh, we are all in favour, yeah? Oh, second if you want.
Second. All in? Yeah, you good with that? Okay. Item 256113, PPES committee to resolve and agree to elect members to the committee. Anyone interested? No? Okay. Item number 2, to resolve to agree to rediscuss the way forward with Park Bungalow. Oh dear. Right, who wants to go first?
Well, firstly, if you're going to make a new agreement, you're going to have to suspend standing
Yeah.
orders. If you're not going to make a new agreement, then you don't need to suspend standing orders. What I would say is, obviously, there's been backs and forwards about it, and I get why people are concerned, but the process that we will be going through to gain any planning permissions will entail having some survey work done to the property, because you have to apply for demolition for your planning process, so there's going to be some form of survey done for that. And as we are in such a state with our finances, personally, I understand why you're concerned, but it's yet more money you're spending for no reason, in my view.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted all the box ticked properly, so parishioners and everyone in the community can see that it is what we say it is, or people look at that, and it's a box ticking exercise. It's a official paper to say that it is in the state it is. That's all. I just think we should protect ourselves and give the correct information. That's all. I know we don't want to spend money.
I also, as you know, I would like to see the paperwork in order. I really don't want to be demolishing a building without someone actually saying this is the way forward and all looking at it. We owe it to the public to basically make sure they've done everything.
I had a conversation with members of the public recently, like this afternoon, and they asked me 2 questions which I couldn't answer. And that was, what was the size of the park bungalow worth, and could the council sell it? Can anyone answer that for me?
Anyone?
I've got another question.
Sophie, Isabel, anyone can answer it?
The bungalow had a valuation on it many years ago, well not many years ago, about 18 months ago, something like that. But that was presuming that it was in good repair. You would be selling a potential plot as such, but yes, it could be sold if that's what the route council wish to go down, but whether they would want to go down that route is another matter.
Have you any idea what it'd be worth as a plot?
No, not a huge amount, I would 100 probably-ish.
I'm aware that there's all sorts of problems to do with other issues like tractors and so on and so forth that tie up in this. It would be quite, 100 grand would be quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
Pay for a tractor to get somewhere, wouldn't it?
Did we ever hear back from the doctors about? No.
Part of my ignorance, I obviously wasn't here, so it says to rediscuss the way forward with Park Bungalow. Could I have a quick synopsis of what the initial discussion was to go forward with the rediscussion of the bungalow?
Okay, so originally it was decided to convert it into offices. Planning permission was obtained. Again, significantly under budgeted what that cost. 50 grand was put in, but it'd be more like 100 by the time we actually started working out. And again, that's just moving from one office building, which is okay, to another office building. Not brilliant use of public money in my view, but okay. Second was we are basically paying an awful lot of council tax and public money on an empty building. So it was then looked into whether we could rent it out as a residential unit. it barely scraped an EPC, and that was only with some alterations being done at the time. And then it was during that point, and previously, that issues with the flooring, etc., have been flagged, which were then investigated by ripping up some more of the flooring. It wasn't a isolated problem. Basically, most of the floor joists, etc., were rotten, and the rot was going then up into the walls. Bearing in mind, it's basically a prefab timber frame construction, 1930s bungalow, is approximately 100 years old. So, you know, it's not a solid construction. So then all of that information was discussed. Alongside that, we also need a new trash shed, which again is extremely old. There's not had much stuff done to it apart from patch and repairs over the whole time I've known it to be there. The other thing is, if we are looking to do a new tractor shed, at the moment the parks team are split between the old cricket pavilion, which should be a public facility, and the tractor shed. In order to completely move out of the pavilion, they will need access to a toilet, water, etc. Because if they're doing any work, they need somewhere to wash themselves down if they get anything on them, spills, etc. They don't have that at the tractor shed currently. So that's where discussions led to the potential of Park Bungalow site. If it was going to basically cost a large amount of money to repair, was that then worth repairing a old dilapidated building when you will not get significant amount of income in from a rental, and look to resite the tractor shed there, given we already have 3 storage buildings. So that would also mean that you wouldn't need to do a tractor shed as big as we would intend, which would reduce the costs of the tractor shed in the interim. And it does have 3-phase electricity, water, etc., all there available, and waste. So the decision at the last full council meeting, based on circumstances and needs, etc., was decided to proceed with putting the tractor shed, or looking to put the tractor shed in that location. We would need the planning permissions, etc., and all the other survey work and bits in place to be able to deliver that, and that would involve demolition of the bungalow. Conversations have also gone on with the doctor's surgery, because they were wanting to expand. That hasn't proceeded anymore, but the idea would be that if you did demolish the bungalow and put the tractor shed on the far end of the Park Bungalow site, that would enable doctor surgery to have further land if we wanted to do that in a future stage. It wouldn't prevent them from expanding on that site. So that was the option agreed. Members have raised concern about not having a full survey done on the property prior to that agreement, but in order to get the planning permissions and everything you would need to do, you would need all your surveys, your drawings, your assessments, etc. done. So personally, I appreciate the concerns, but I also understand the pressures that the parks team are under. They really need this trash shed and it needs to be done ASAP. We will need to get the survey work, etc. done as part of the planning application, and other bits and pieces, and also go out to full tender process, do all your checks and balances, etc. If anything was thrown up during that process which contradicts the decision council have already made, at that point I would be more than happy for it to be brought back for further discussion and scrutiny. But if it's confirming what we already understand to be the case, then council have made and agreed a way forward based on the information and the circumstances at the time. I would suggest we need to proceed as efficiently and quickly as we can with that route, or at least if you've decided something, you need to go for it, because else we're going to end up with no trash shed at this point in time, and all of our expensive machinery is going to be out in the open, basically.
Wow.
Sorry, that wasn't short.
Okay, have we got any thoughts? As I say, I really do want to see some kind of professional survey to say what this is the state of it. If we can be assured that that will happen as part of the process, then I'm quite content with that. But we must have something showing that we didn't just demolish a building because we felt like it.
Yeah,
Is there-
I'm fine with
Okay. Is everyone happy with that?
that. Yeah.
Propose?
Joe, just to clear this up, make sure it's absolutely crystal, we are agreeing to demolish the park bungalow, providing we have a survey which tells us that it's unfit for use, and that the council gives us approval, the district council gives us approval. Is that what we're voting on?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's not my understanding. My understanding is we're agreeing to talk about demolishing the bungalow, subject to what we've seen, what comes up in the survey report.
You've already decided, Tim, you've already decided to demolish it in the last meeting. So this is based
Oh, okay,
on,
fair enough,
yeah, you've already decided. So this is based on just getting a survey to confirm that it is unusable. Yeah.
Is that part of what Sophie said anyway? That's
Yes.
part of the planning
Yes.
process anyway.
Yes.
So it'll be in there anyway.
May I suggest, because we've discussed the principles,
Yeah.
the person, as a potential person to do the planning application is coming out tomorrow. I think myself, Dan and my mum are going to meet him down there, obviously planning background head on. Once they've come up with a bit of a quote and we know exactly what they're going to be doing and say they've got surveys, etc., and all the guff ready for planning, I would suggest that's circulated around and potentially we hold a meeting so everybody can see it, because everybody also needs them to be on board and actually agree the planning application properly, not how it's been done in the past. So you're happy with actually what's being proposed anyway. There's no point doing a 2x3 metre tractor shed if you want a bigger one, is there? So everybody needs to be on board with that. And at that point, once all of the documentation and background reports have been done, then everybody can view that before that's submitted, and then decide how you want to go forward.
Okay.
So?
It's a money question.
Yeah.
So I assume this costs money, doesn't it? Didn't we just say, I've got it written down somewhere, we haven't got any money?
I said this
And that you're moving money from, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then we're going to stick another 10 grand into this thing, which I know needs to be done, but does it need to be done now, or can it be done in 6 months' time, as we're already in a deficit?
So there is money available for this. There was money put aside from last year for the tractor shed. So that's already there. We then had £50,000 allocated in reserves for property project, which was the conversion of the bungalow.
Right.
Some of that has been split up for the park bungalow costs, so that would be demolition, survey work, etc. Then you've got the tractor shed money to actually build the tractor shed, and then some of it was put into office costs because they never budgeted for the office costs. So,
One final question. I do remember, please tell me if I'm wrong, did he not say somewhere that Kubro Chambers, the reason that you were thinking about moving to the bungalow is the fact that Kubro Chambers was not fit for purpose? Has that suddenly changed? Because I do believe when this happened, I'm just about certain it was stated that it wasn't fit, and this is why the council were pushing for the move, even though people were unsure of the necessity of it. And now it's being said that actually Kubro Chambers is fit for purpose, which would then go against what the public were told 6 months ago. Is that about right?
I can answer that if you want. Yeah. So Kubro's always going to need work doing to it because it's an old building. It's going to have subsidence. It's got lorries. This is what we were told. It's going to have lorries going past it. That's going to rock it. So it is going to cost the council money to keep it repaired. We had a damp issue in it, but we've ventilated. So we seem to have rectified that, and we're having another bit rectified to sort the damp out. So yes, they was right in what they said. It is a bit of a white elephant. You will be ploughing money into it because it's an old building. But it serves its purpose. It's got offices, we've got tenants in there, we've got long-staying tenants in there now, so it should hopefully recoup itself anyway. It should just keep itself cost neutral, hopefully, if you keep your tenants until it falls over. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That qualifies that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, we had a vote on the second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just got
yeah,
just all agree.
So we're happy to move forward.
Yeah, they all agree. Yeah.
All agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Item 256114, events on PR committee to resolve and agree to elect members to the committee. Who would like to join the events and PR committee? Anyone? David, please. Anyone want to second me? Right, what do we do now?
That's it. We've just already agreed, yeah. All agreed.
All agreed? Yeah. Right. Number 2, to receive and approve documentation for Holbeach Winter Wonderland Christmas events. Who's got that?
We've all had it. It's all seen
All
it.
good with that?
It's all in. What else is it?
I've got a question. I've read it, obviously. My only question is, several of the people named as being your stewards are no longer with us. Are they still intending helping?
Yeah, they are.
All of them are?
Yeah.
Every single one of them?
Yes. Well, they have confirmed to me they are. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. My other question is, obviously, the TENS, I know you're going to be applying for that.
I've applied for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, so it's in the document.
Yeah, I've got the sign. It's all authorised. So.
Looking at your layout, your TENS area of your entertainment and your bar, one's over here, one's over there. You have to have them together because that is your area for your 450 people, not there.
Well, one's on the corner of the tennis courts, and one's literally going to be on the grass where the bungalow is. So it is in that sort of one area. We can move it, but what we don't want is to, because we've got Sam's Grotto going in the bowls club, so we don't want to put too much electric wire in that end. But we can move them into that. Yeah.
On making sure that it's monitored so that you haven't got more than 450 people, because that's actually don't.
Are you offering to come and do that, Ellen Isabel?
I read somewhere, yet again, that the person doing the bar is the WI hall.
It's WI committee.
Right,
the
so
WI hall doesn't exist.
Yes.
So be careful with your wording.
Well, this is why I was questioning, because I'm sure I read somewhere that the bar no longer is running. Is this right?
No, the WI hall. So the Women's Institute doesn't exist anymore. They've gone completely.
They've gone
bust. Yes.
Okay.
There is the WI hall has been taken over by a committee.
Which is called the WI.
It's called WI committee, yeah, because it's
Okay,
a
so
WI hall.
It's
so
no longer
yes.
the Women's Institute, but
no, it's
okay.
W. Yeah, it's just
And
the hall's called
they're
WI.
doing
So
the bar.
they are.
And was that put out to other people?
No.
Is there any reason why?
We don't charge anything. There's nothing to be. There's no costs involved for it. They do it for.
So, having been a publican for a very long time, I know there's an awful lot of money in booze. Quite a lot of money in booze, depending on what you're selling. So, would it not have been kind of get a little bit of money in from certain things, percentage-wise?
It's a committee's decision. So yeah.
So it wasn't put out to people to have a chance of doing it. And is it a tin bar, a bottle bar, or is it a proper bar? Because people like to know. It's
just a tin bar. It's just tables with a fridge behind it. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all right.
Okay. You happy with that? Yep.
Yeah. There's no approval on that anyway. It's just discussion.
Right. Item 256115, policies. Item number 1, to resolve to agree to update standing orders, specifically section 2F, amended to state that the public session shall not exceed 15 minutes. Section 2E, amended to clarify that the member of public shall not speak for more than 3 minutes. And these changes are intended to formalise and manage public participation within the meetings. Is any comments on that? I'm happy for comments at this stage from anyone. Carry on.
If I may make a comment, I think you're restricting the members of the public to 5 members of the public on that, and that's very unfair. You very big parish. I'd love to see your 18, 19 councillors back. When the parish is running properly, I would expect to see 18, 19 parishioners turn up and support you. Being the chairman of Fleet Parish, we run slightly different. Is that members of the public can speak as long as they need to until I tell them to be quiet, and they can also raise their hand during the meeting and at the chairman's discretion. Bring up a point.
I'd say in the policy it does say it's chairman's discretion for them to
Yeah,
continue talking, so it's not limited to 3 minutes, and they can continue. Yeah.
That's not clear at the minute. It looks like you come along, 5 parishioners can speak for 5 minutes, and that's the end of it. So the other 6 people who are sitting down that end don't get their chance.
I will comment, Madam Deputy Clerk, that your comment about it not being the case they cut off 3 minutes, the wording is poor. And I quote, public participation is limited to 15 minutes, with each speaker permitted up to 3 minutes. After this item, public participation will only be allowed at the chair's discretion. That strongly suggests that once the public forum item is over, there is no further speech. I think maybe, if it is the case it's not a hard and fast cut-off, it maybe should do away with the last line, since discretion is already in the standing orders. I agree entirely with this gentleman's comments. I think it's perhaps prohibitory if you were to have a larger number of parishioners turn up.
Just 2 seconds, Stacey. The reason why I literally asked if there was anything is because, for that reason, I want to bring forward going forward that we're here to serve you, and therefore, if there is, I want to make it bring forward a bit with the public. If there's someone sitting there who's spent their time to sit there, by all means you can have a voice. I want to bring that more forward. And hence why I literally said, has anyone got anything there?
Just to clarify, the reason that those bits are being amended is because originally the public forum was before the meeting. So it's preceding the meeting, so that standing order 2F actually said not exceed 0 minutes, because the council decided that they didn't want the public forum in the actual meeting, which means it's not recorded, you haven't got any processes, and it's not really minuted anywhere what people have actually said and asked, so there's no really accountability. What we agreed when we all met to move forward, one of the recommendations was that we bring it back into the main meeting system properly. So those two are just the amendments in standing orders. You have to physically set a limit in standing orders, whatever you like. There are other standing orders that follow on that basically say it's 15 minutes unless the chair basically decides to go longer, but it's the chair's discretion. The same for not exceed 3 minutes is you have to put a figure in, but then it's the chair can extend that if they want to. And the same with during the meeting, we have a set, the way the standing orders are done is there's a set area for public participation. After that bit, technically, the members of the public shouldn't speak unless the chair invites them to. So again, you can do it, perfectly fine. You've got to set something in standing orders. This is just basically bringing it back into the meeting. And they're the two that are being amended, but there are further standing orders within the full document. I just don't want to bore you with the whole thing.
I believe, John?
Just like to say, I concur with Councillor Hutchinson. You have to state, well, previously the meeting had to start at the allotted time, hence why we were all cut off. Because if the meeting states it starts at 6:30, you have to start your meeting at 6:30, regardless. This is a welcome change, and going forward, I do hope, Chairman, that you will allow the public to speak for as long as they need to, as long as it's relevant to the agenda items and the Parish Council. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you. So we've vote on that? Don't vote.
Yeah, whilst I entirely agree that the public should be allowed to come here and have their say, it would be nice if we could get across to the public. They can also talk to the council, and they can also write to the council. And sometimes, if they write to the council, they can, and then come, they can get an answer there and then. Whereas otherwise, it's frequently the case that they can't get an answer now, because we've got to go in and talk about it before we can answer it. It's not that you're giving us time to prepare, in one way.
It's
excuses.
It is sometimes, and that's acceptable.
But it lets us look things up and study things and decide what the answer is. So try and do that, encourage the public to talk to either their councillor or write to the council, as well as coming in.
Thank you.
Need a proposal then.
Have we got a proposal then? Right, second.
Paul.
In agreement? Thank you. Right, number 2. To resolve to agree to updated community engagement and communications policy, specifically Section 4, Paragraph 1, amended to include reference to the public session during full council meetings. Section 4, Paragraph 4, amended to require the details of the public session be recorded in the meeting minutes. These changes are intended to formalise and manage public perception within meetings and align with updated standing orders. Comments?
I think that, as we voted on the previous one, that's an obvious thing to do. I propose it here and now.
Yeah. Second it. All in agreement? There we go. Number 3. To consider and resolve to agree to the removal of the subject access policy as recommended by Breakthrough Communications.
Can I say something, clarify, because I've had some emails
Yes,
about this.
carry on.
So, we're not refusing to do subject access requests. It's just we don't have to have a policy for it because there's already a legislation on it. So I've had a few emails, people saying, you can't refuse. And we're not refusing. We're just removing our policy because we don't need a policy because it's already set in stone anyway. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second. All in agreement? Thank you. Right, number 4. To consider and resolve to agree the councillor IT policy. Okay. We have some comments. Anyone want to comment? Oh, God, it's left to me, isn't it? I do apologise. We know we got this quite late. I did spend about half an hour before the meeting having a quick look at it. When I find it, I did do some highlighting of things that I want to. Oh, here we go. Okay, policy. Now, and everything's up for debate. This is just literally what I've gathered. Now, it says with regarding to councillors' equipment, an option of an Android tablet. I understand that is probably done from cost basis. Android's cheaper. But I've been in IT for 30 plus years now, and I believe that iPads generally go down a bit better. They're easier to use, less finicky. I would like to recommend we move to iPads. We don't have to go top of the range iPads, we can go bottom of the range iPads, but they might be easier to come by, but it's open to views. I've also I've seen items saying council data will be erased from personal devices at the end of the councillor's term, or if a security breach occurs. Who will be doing that, please? That'll be a question. Number 4, data storage and security. Multi-factor authentication is mandatory for accessing the council's Microsoft 365 account. Who will be monitoring that? That's a question. Devices must use encrypted home Wi-Fi networks. Another, who's going to monitor that? How's it going to be monitored, being that you're at home? So that will be questions to whoever it's relevant for, and feel free.
So this was sort of discussed at the last council meeting. For background, it was decided in the last year or two that we would all buy mobile phones for councillors to view documentation and to do their business, and councillors could only use council mobile phones. They were Samsung devices, which were not the cheapest ones, especially compared to other tablets that you could get. It also means that they've all got SIM cards and mobile phone contracts for them that we're paying for, which are also not very cheap. And councillors basically can't see the documents because it's only a tiny little screen that you're going to read the whole document on. I will admit, I haven't been following the policy. I get issued a tablet from South London District Council, which has got all the data security on it, and I don't see why I should be using taxpayer money to have a mobile phone when I've got a perfectly decent device issued to me. So it has been discussed, several councillors haven't been using the phones for various reasons, and it's been mooted that we basically redo the IT policy to allow for either councillors to be issued with a device if they don't physically have one that they could use so they can still do their duties, or we have a option of a bring your own device policy, which is recognised among loads of other organisations, and the ICO have got guidance on. So that is basically this policy that's been put together based on other councils who have got similar things. In terms of devices being wiped, multi-factor authentication, we've agreed to have the multi-factor authentication on all of our Microsoft 365 accounts, so everything's in the cloud. We do have an IT company and they basically do all the setup, etc. for us. So they would, they do have remote access to the council issued devices. In terms of personal devices, obviously that's more difficult, but that's why the policy says you should only store it on the Microsoft account, so then the account itself can be wiped afterwards. Yes, there is trust involved with councillors doing the right thing, same as there is for code of conduct and anything. But personally, most parish councils do not purchase devices for the whole council. We've got potentially 18 councillors. If people have got perfectly adequate equipment and are sensible and follow the rules and they have to sign this policy as well, I don't see why we should be using public money to basically buy devices for all of us if we can do it ourselves. It gives people options.
I believe last time I was on it, I did have it on my own device.
Yes, you did.
I did have it
That was the policy.
because I'm one of these people that I've got one thing and I know how to use it really well.
Yeah.
So and it gave me a home and a work one.
Yep.
So I couldn't even get it all mixed up. It was just there. So my friend. But my second thing, if you would, is ask the Fleet Council what they do. As we have the chair of Fleet Council, it'd be interesting to see what other councils are doing who are already here to be asked.
Fleet Parish Council very reluctantly supply a laptop to the clerk. We don't supply any IT equipment to any councils. If somebody was in hardship, obviously we'd consider it. Personally, I've got my Fleet Parish Council emails on my phone for exactly the same reason, but we've just changed, so we're now .gov.uk in the cloud, so that if I leave, the clerk can just take away my email and all those emails. Also gives that openness if there's a freedom, I call it freedom of information request or whatever, you need to access my emails to see what I've been sending, then you can do that. You can't touch my personal emails. So we don't spend, apart from the clerk, which obviously we have to, because she's employed to do that job, we don't spend any money on IT, we don't have an IT company, we don't certainly buy anybody any gifts, and looking at this parish council, if you went to iPads, and I don't buy them very often, but they must be £600-700, I don't know.
Somewhere between 3 and 5 for a basic one.
Okay, so times that by 18.
Yeah.
Have you got any money?
Yeah.
That's another attractive remote service not done.
Thank you.
As Vice Chairman of Malton Parish Council, the same.
So therefore it shows what other councils are doing in the area.
Yes, indeed.
Just my concern is, it said something about in there that you'd have to hand your device over or something, or to be screened or something, or if something request a free information request.
Subject access request.
The only thing I have, my phone's for business as well, so I wouldn't allow that because I've got personal information of my customers on there. I wouldn't do that because I'll be in breach for them as well.
Yeah.
So if it's not,
Sorry, what I said was the email address for
it is
parish council
separate,
won't
yeah.
be separate.
but I wouldn't be able to get
That's
that
what-
access to
That
other
can be
people.
accessed in the cloud, not onto my phone.
Yeah,
Right.
So they'd have to buy it out of hand.
yeah, that's what I couldn't allow to happen because then I'll be in breach with them.
Thank you.
I'm just about to clarify that. When you have a Freedom of Information Act, they're requesting information held within your parish
Yeah,
run account.
yeah, that's fine.
Not your personal.
No, because that's been
And that is why you have a parish email account.
Do you remember Hillary Clinton? That's what she did. Because it's a person.
Yeah.
Tim?
With all due respect to public members here, we ought to be looking for similar sized councils and ourselves rather than smaller village council by comparison. The comparisons we ought to be looking for some in town size of Bournemouth. What do they do in Bournemouth?
There's one thing that I haven't heard mentioned. In 2 years' time, we could be getting a lot more work. We ought to be planning things now for that eventuality. Now, Fleet might get more, Malta might get more. We don't know at this stage what is happening, except that we can take we don't have to take on anything we don't want.
Right.
So whatever we do, we've got to think for the future, because we don't want in 2 years' time to find out, well, we should have done that 2 years ago. We would have saved ourselves, I don't know how much money. I don't know which way to go, because believe you me, most of it is up there above my head.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of 2 years' time and the future and the forward planning, and that's what we've got to look at as well.
Thank you. Come on.
Yeah. Ken was talking about our organisations. As you know, I sit on the drainage board, and they are dealing with millions of pounds, not thousands, lots of millions of pounds. Everybody uses their own piece of ID kit. The drainage board, none of the drainage boards do anything out except their officers. I've got an ex-council iPad, I've got a Kindle, I've got a desktop Apple. I really don't want another one.
No. Sophie?
So, my personal view, I've always been in favour of bring your own devices. I've been the one fighting for this because I've been told I've been doing things wrong, basically, against the council policy. I put in there the option of the two because this came from another similar sized council who gives both options. Other larger councils also give 2 options as well. How the council decides to move forward is obviously down to us. Personally, I think bring your own device would work perfectly well. We don't need to issue them, and that's part of the reason why our phone and broadband budget has gone through the roof, because again, that wasn't budgeted for. Whether we include a caveat that, you know, if somebody physically hasn't got a device, like Councillor Barnes said, because they, you know, they haven't got the money, etc., that we do consider giving them something so they can carry out their duties. How we would assess that, I don't know. But other than that, I'm perfectly happy to move forward with just using their own devices, as long as it's all done through proper policy and managed correctly.
Can I add as well? We've got 6 mobile phones sitting in a drawer in the office that were £189 each. You know, it is a waste of money. And I don't like having 2 phones. It's tedious having 2 phones to carry around. Yeah.
My only thing would be is similar to nobody who volunteers should be made to spend their own money.
Right.
So therefore, if somebody chooses, not financially, chooses to have one of the old Nokia 3210s because that's what they prefer, then you can't make them purchase their own to work for the council. So there has to be some form of measure put in place to offer. But I think the rest of us who are sat here with mobile phones in front of us, I can't see why I can't look at my own device.
Okay. So I think we're saying that the current policy is written needs a bit of revision, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it depends on what points you want to clarify in terms of your points that you raised about the security, etc. Obviously, in terms of it being wiped, that's from the council Microsoft 365 account, that would be wiped. It would be wiped from the device if it's a council device.
Yeah.
The multi-factor authentication is done by our IT company, which again, I do feel like that contract needs looking at.
Yeah.
That again, it's not my area. And yeah, in terms of the home Wi-Fi, etc., I take your point. I don't know how you monitor it. It was just in somebody else's policy, and I thought it looked okay, and I thought it would be there
Yeah,
for
yeah.
discussion. You see what
But
I mean?
when you all sign up for office, you do state that you are, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to relook at it, modify it slightly. How do we make that happen? We need a vote on that. Or...
Yeah, I propose
I'll
it's
second
re-looked at.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Second it. Anyone in favour? Thank you.
Mr Chairman, can I just raise a point of clarification for Councillor Wiltshire's comment? I believe Moulton Parish Council is exactly the same size as Holbeach Parish Council.
Thank you.
Just a clarification there, thank you.
On terms of residents,
No, but the committee members is what he was referring to.
okay.
I was actually referring to that yourself, Councillor. Never mind.
Thank you for the clarification, Wiltshire.
Mr Wiltshire, thank you.
Councillor Wiltshire,
Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Number 5. To consider and resolve to agree the drone usage policy. I wrote this policy. So
Yeah, with a little bit of help from Councillor.
So, yes.
Tom did send you through that
Yeah, with a
original
little bit
one.
of help.
Yes.
Now, to make it clear, we ain't really writing anything in this policy that isn't just the rules anyway. I think the council said they wanted to stop drones being flown. We can't stop drones being flown. We can stop drones landing or taking off without permission. That is basically what the policy says. Does anyone want to make any comments?
It's a lot about your one really, is monitoring. Because everything's to be monitored, isn't it? So who's going to monitor somebody who's flying a drone or setting off and landing and whatever?
Part team.
So it's
Part team.
part
Yeah.
team.
Part team. Yeah.
That's easy then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason we came back is because we had an inquiry, somebody inquired about flying a drone in Carter's Park. This is why I brought this
Right.
policy
Yeah.
forward, because we have nothing. So going forward, we had to put something in place because we didn't have a policy to tell them. But as a public member that wanted to fly a drone in Carter's Park.
Is it not a bit of an issue that there's children?
We did say that. That's
I
what
mean,
we
realistically,
thought
my
about.
children go there, and I don't particularly want strangers. And I believe that there is rights for children that they don't have to be recorded, whereas we do. My child has the right not to be recorded, I believe.
Nothing in the policy changes anyone's rights or say it's literally written by CA regulations. There's nothing there like that. We're not trying to change anything.
What areas are you talking about? Are you just talking about Carters and Netherfields, or?
Everywhere. All the
Everywhere.
cemeteries. Yeah.
So you're talking about, let's say, because you cut the grass and you pay the rent for Holbeach and March Park.
Yes. Any of our open spaces that we own.
Well, you
As a
don't
parish.
own it, but
No.
you...
So then we can't put a policy in place for something we don't own.
Yeah.
It's just our areas
but
that we
on
own.
the other hand, you don't own Carter Park, do you?
Oh, yeah. Don't go on about charity. God.
We put the policy in places that we own and we're allowed to put the policy in. I think it's not where, it doesn't state, the policy doesn't state where, does it? It states that this is the policy.
To be honest, we offered the people that rang us the alternative of Netherfield, which they took, which was a lot better area for them to fly the drone. And so we actually rectified it anyway. We're not saying that they can't, we're just saying that they need to come to us for permission first before they do.
And I think that's the major thing, because for full clarity, I've got drones myself. We're not trying to stop anything, we're trying to get some
Yeah, I just wanted actually the areas, because you cut Holbeach Herne Football Club ground, which I think is run by Holbeach Herne Football Club, rather than anywhere else. Holbeach Bank, you are correct, sorry, yeah. And there's also Carter Park in Holbeach Marsh, which nothing much happens there now. They've got children's play areas, and you've taken over cutting the grass while you're playing your contractor. But it's run by the Village Hall. But I believe, but used to be, I believe the rent paid by here. And that's what I just wanted to clarify. Where were you talking about?
I think the wares is another day, isn't it?
It's just, it's only the land we own. We can't,
Yeah.
we can't divide a
Exactly.
policy on land we don't own. So if we pay rent on the land, then we're obviously renting it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but any areas we just grass cut, like say for instance the churchyard, we can't stop someone flying a drone there because we don't own
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bit. We look after it, we maintain it. So,
Well,
so maybe the policy needs to clarify that it's HPC land owned, not areas we look after and maintain.
yeah,
Some clarification.
I'm
So
assuming it was going to be used to stick up in the relevant places after we actually check.
yeah.
Anyone want to go with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll propose it as that clarification in the introduction.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second it.
Second it, everyone? Fine. Thank you. Right. 256116 HR, H&S and Data Protection Committee to resolve to agree to elect members to the committee. Anyone would like to become part of that committee?
Can I just ask who's on the committee at the moment?
Just Sophie at the minute.
I'll come with
You covered
Sophie.
that.
Yeah, I'll come with Sophie.
There you go.
Right, if that's okay. Yeah, I will.
Second.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Everyone happy with that? Yeah. Oh, God.
Just saying we're not core.
I say you need one more really.
Yeah, given we've got urgent things that we need dealing with, if anybody is,
Can we push anyone else in that direction?
please.
Anyone?
Else everything will just have to come back to full council, which is not ideal, but
Can someone, Sophie, can you give me 10 minutes of what it involves? 10 seconds. Oh, 10 minutes.
Okay, you can come and check it, sorry.
So,
okay. So it's HR, Health and Safety and Data Protection Committee. It should be fairly simple, just dealing with the appraisals, contracts, pay, or basically managing members of staff. The HR, Health and Safety and Data Protection Committee as a whole is the line manager for the clerk. So that involves all usual line management duties. However, whenever there are problems, we are the ones seeking the advice, bringing that back to council and dealing with a lot of potentially messy situations, which can take an awful lot of time. We do have a HR legal advisor who helps us along the way and basically tells us what we do and don't need to do. But as people probably have gathered by the events that are happening, in fact you've got members of staff leaving, etc., you've got member of staff who's off, there are quite a lot of things that need dealing with and need dealing with correctly.
thank you. Okay, well, as you seem desperate. I'll put my name up for that then.
I propose you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Sorry, I'm not sure the chairman can actually sit on an HR committee.
No,
Yeah, there's nothing in our terms of reference or anything stopping them.
Okay, I stand corrected.
It's not best practice, but when you're on short
I was gonna say,
numbers,
who do the staff go to if they've got an issue with the HR committee then? Because they haven't got the chair as the next port of call.
go vice chair.
Well, just clarify that either the vice chair or they'd have to bring it to full council.
Okay.
The chair wouldn't be able to deal with anything on their own anyway, because it would have to go to full council for agreement, so no individual would be able to act on their own.
And if they're, to make it clear, I'm new to this, if you do find anything that stops me, fine, bring it to my attention, I'll resign from it, it's fine. Alright? Right.
Did we all agree?
Do we all agree?
I didn't see that. Yes, we did. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Right. Yeah. I'm out of coffee. Right. 256117 Councillor Conduct. To resolve to agree in line with advice received reporting recent councillor conduct concerns to the monitoring officer at South Holland District Council. Who wants to lead?
Do you want me to do it?
Yes, I think.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, we cannot ourselves investigate or do anything about councillor conduct. It's basically like trying to deal with something with your hands tied behind your back. It's very difficult. But we all know, as we've heard tonight, there have been issues that have been raised. We can't determine whether that is a breach of the code of conduct ourselves. That's not something we can do. Individuals have reported concerns to the monitoring officer from said events, but the advice received from both Lauk and our HR advisor is the council as a whole, as a corporate body, is responsible for councillor conduct, but also staff welfare and everything else. If we as an employer do not report said concerns, whether we believe they are inappropriate or not, as an employer, then we would be liable and claims, etc., could be made against us. It will ultimately be down to the independent process to determine, but the point is, if something happens, we did say we'd take a no tolerance approach. We should be, as a council, reporting the concerns, and then what will be, will be.
Okay. I've got, if you don't mind, I know it's been a bit.
Mr. Chairman, apologies, on a point of order, which I do believe members of the public are entitled to raise, can I just raise how unprofessional it is for Council Wiltshire to have chosen to start to eat popcorn at the start of ultimately what may be the most controversial and expensive agenda item for parishioners of this county? I'd like that recorded in the minutes, please, and addressed. I am advised that members of the public can raise points of order. I will happily be corrected on the point if I'm wrong about that.
No, he is correct.
Sorry?
He is correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. As I said, I'll repeat what I said in the beginning. I'm new to this, you would have already seen it. I will be taking advice from all the members here on matters, and this is one of the matters that I'll be discussing. But I'm a strong believer, and everyone gets their own chance. I don't like it being picked on. Everyone's got a right to defend themselves. It will be discussed. Right, with regard to this matter...
Mr Chairman, just a point of order then, on that point. If Councillor Wiltshire needs to have substance, as he clearly does, would it be advisable then to have a 5-minute postponement? As he is obviously hungry and disturbing the meeting through putting popcorn on the floor and eating quite loudly. I mean, if obviously he's hungry, so would it be advisable to allow 5 minutes for him to have something to eat?
If that's acceptable, I could quite welcome 5 minutes myself, to be honest.
And also, while you're at it, you fast approaching 8:30, which by we have to agree to continue the meeting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I propose that we do continue the meeting after a 5-minute break.
I second that.
Second that? In agreement?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Thank you.
Get another one.
Will you make them coffee?
Is there anything else there?
Welcome.
You want to
I was going to say, you sound like what Paris is or
I
something.
am legally trained, yes. I'm not legal by profession, I'm legally trained. I appreciate that. I don't appreciate the concept. Professionally, what you're saying, but yes. I get it. I take the face value. I'm just observing what I'm saying.
Is everyone okay? Should we carry on? Right. Back to the matter discussed then. 256117 to resolve to agree in line with advice received reporting recent council conduct to the monitoring officer at South Holland District Council. Right, has anyone got anything to say?
You know, I suppose it.
Okay.
Can I just say something first? In one of the events meetings, there was recording doing before and after meetings, which is not permitted. And unfortunately, in one of them, my 11-year-old daughter was caught in recording. We took advice and we took police advice, and we asked the police to get involved because we wanted this said recording of my daughter deleted. My daughter had concerns what things could be done with it, and obviously as parents we did too, not knowing what this could happen or be put online. recorded it and I'm perfectly happy with what they did, but unfortunately the person that recorded it didn't offer any apology to me or my daughter or my family. That I was a bit sad about. So that's what I just want to say, and I would like that put on the minutes, please.
Thank you. Has anyone else got something to say?
May I ask a question? Was the recording taken within a public building?
It was, yeah.
Right, so it was a public accessible building, so the right of recording was allowed at any part within that building?
No, not after the meeting.
Right, so he was asking, sorry, just to
Yes,
clarify.
it wasn't during the meeting. Unfortunately, the person was secretly recording.
Oh, right, they carried on recording after.
They did, yes, unfortunately. And
That's fine, that's fine. You
my
don't,
daughter is allowed to be in a public building regardless, and she's not a 5-year-old running around the building, sitting there perfectly quiet in the room, sort of
So,
why I
we don't need to, I don't need to.
It's okay.
No,
Yeah.
just,
No, perfectly.
you know, it was quite upsetting for my daughter, to be honest with you.
Fully
And
understand.
it would have been nice if someone just say to me, don't worry about it, I'll sort it out for you, there's no concern. But I had to go to the police to get that.
Fully understand,
That was
it should have been dealt differently
Yeah,
by
but
that
after
member
that
of the
dealt with, sorted, and we're perfectly happy, as long as it don't occur again.
No, fully understand.
Thank you. Okay, has anyone else got anything to say? Anyone propose it?
I proposed it, already have.
Second? All in favour? Thank you. Right, item number 2. To resolve to agree in line with HR advice to instruct a criminal law specialist to assess council conduct issues posing legal or financial risk to the council and impacting staff. Anyone? Sophie?
I would like to address this one, Mr. Chairman. This is clearly aimed at myself, and this is an issue of the instructing a criminal law specialist, which would indicate that they're discussing issues of crime. Issues of crime are dealt with by the police. That's how it's dealt with. Therefore, if said person within the council deems that a crime has been committed, the logical method of doing that is going to the police, which I'm aware that certain councils have already made criminal allegations against me, which have been completely groundless thus far. Okay? Now we're in a situation where, should that be the case, that they've gone to the police and failed dismally, the next thing in line is for them personally to bring a criminal action against me as a private prosecution. Therefore, the issue is that said persons who have had a personal event that have written to me personally for an awful long time should be carrying the responsibility and liabilities of making that personal, let me finish, of making that criminal prosecution, private prosecution, themselves at their own risk. It is not up to the council to join in with a personal vendetta of one council against the other and put all this public money at liability. Because trust me, when it goes to High Court, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. It's going to be a complete disaster for the council should they go down that route. Okay? So that's all I will say on the matter. I will step back.
Thank you.
Right, just to clarify a bit of that, some of the criminal law is public, not personal. I refer to common law breach of the peace. There's only 2 common laws basically used these days. One is breach of the peace, the other is murder. Let's hope to keep with the breach of the peace one. The second, and I've witnessed this myself, is Section 5 Public Order Act. I won't quote it because I can't remember the wording, but it's basically anything, written or verbal, which is abuse in public, which is could abuse or upset another member of the public. Now that is something that would cover happening in council meetings rather than police. Yeah, the police would perhaps deal with it, but it could also be dealt with by us.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to say something?
I tend to agree with Councillor Wiltshire. I can't, obviously not being here, but I can't see what the criminal law specialist would necessarily offer the council apart from a large bill. I don't know if there's ever precedence to do with this. I assume that in other councils there's been councillors that have negated their duty or have done whatever offence the councillor has been. But I can't see where the law specialist necessarily, especially criminal, it's the criminal law specialist that I'm concerned with, because surely it'd be more to do with another side of the door. I don't know.
Thank you. Please.
I have no right to be heard, I should say that. I'm purely appealing to your discretion with my hand up. I am legally trained. I'm in the High Court tomorrow morning advocating for a judicial review claim. So I do have some level of knowledge in this area. It strikes me as a tremendous waste of money. I agree, surprisingly, with Councillor Wiltshire's comments that private prosecutions are, well, they're in public for a start, so the details of this should be made much more detailed than to instruct a criminal law specialist to assess conduct. It should be particularised. And if public money is being used to spend on that, an exact figure as to cost should be provided, in my opinion.
Can I comment? Right. I tend to agree that we shouldn't be spending money on this. I've been upfront to everyone in this room. Right. There's clearly some issues with one member to other members. There's clearly other things, but if there's something that breaks the law, take it to the police. I really don't want to see public money wasted on something like this. I can't see as it does anything but create further tension. But I welcome views. That's what this committee is about. But I would say that we drop this.
Yeah, I don't have as much experience as my colleague across there, but I also spent 14 years as special counsel in Holbeach, in South Holland, and I did witness this incident. And I can't see, harassment maybe, but I can't see the police proceeding with this. I just don't think it would happen. And I can't see that there's a criminal issue here, and I don't really understand why anyone would want to instruct a criminal law specialist. The council is not responsible for the behaviour of one of its members outside outside the council meeting.
Thank you.
Just to clarify one thing, the section from a Public Order Act, the police normally what they do, if they witness it or they then warn somebody not to do it again. It's when I was dealing with it an awful lot, we called it on Friday and Saturday night special.
Yeah.
You warn them not to do it again, and the moment they said you can't, you know, so the police would deal with that, but you've got to call the police to come down, then they've got to warn the person. Now I'm not saying yes or no to this, I'm saying, I'm clarifying, some of it would be down to us, not down to individuals.
Yes. Thank you.
So, can I actually explain what this is all about? Because a lot of comments have been made, and I appreciate some people don't know, but the advice has been sent through from our HR advisor, and that's where it's come from. And a lot of misconceptions have been gone about what is actually being reported, what's happening, etc. This is not to bring a private prosecution or anything like that. What has been suggested is after the events of the meeting, where a certain member was asked to leave, and there was an altercation with a member of the public, it was then raised at that meeting that members of staff and also councillors had been receiving allegedly, and I'll use the word allegedly because we can't determine, inappropriate, abusive, etc. emails from same said councillor. Now, I will make it very clear that councillor is the reason why our current clerk is off, and that is putting us at legal risk. So, from the public's point of view, you know, their money is at risk currently. Myself and a previous councillor who was on the HR committee met with our HR advisor to discuss various other things, but also this incident. Up until that point, the advice was, as we just agreed, to report issues to the monitoring officer, because that is our usual route. When the matters were discussed about emails, etc., it was the HR advisor themselves who told us that and suggested it may be a breach of section 127 of the 2003 Communications Act and potentially other legislation as well in terms of the emails that are being sent and the communication. It's not just the content of the emails, it's the frequency of the emails and how that is then being interpreted and affecting people receiving them as well. That was their words, and it is in writing from the HR advisor, and that's what's been circulated to members. So they said if the allegations are proven, the council may have breached criminal law. However, I recommend that the council ask a criminal law solicitor for advice on these matters. Basically, it's outside of their jurisdiction, they won't be able to do it. They then went on to say that the fact that the council has taken such steps to protect the members of staff from unacceptable conduct by a councillor would prove you are taking all reasonable steps to protect them. At the moment, as we all know, what we can do towards a councillor if we are receiving complaints, etc., and concerns raised is very limited. We still have legal obligations as an employer, and we've been told very clearly by the monitoring officer at South Holland and our HR advisors that although we may report stuff to the monitoring officer, that does not negate our duties as an employer. What he was suggesting was instead of us just running to the police and going, panic, this has happened, in which they'll probably go, yeah, okay, it's a bit of a dispute, we won't take it too seriously. If the council used a criminal law solicitor or somebody specialising to review the material, all the material independently, make their own judgment, and if it was then deemed to be a breach of any criminal law, etc., they would make the report to the police on behalf of the council. A, that is creating a bit of a level of impartiality to the whole process, and B, like he said, it's showing we're taking the matter seriously and doing all we can. That's the point, it's doing everything you can. And the problem is if you've got it in writing from your HR advisor telling you to do this to protect you against future claims, and you don't, by all means that is the council's decision, but it will put you at risk. That's my 2 comments.
Thank you, Sophie. Can
Have
we?
we no idea what sort of cost would be involved in consulting a criminal lawyer on this?
I believe that quotes were being obtained. I'm not sure where we've got to with
Not
that.
had any so far.
Barrister's opinion, I can speak quite hard of it. Barrister's opinion should be about £2,000 or £3,000. I would be.
I agree.
I'd be that sure. About £2,000 or £3,000, just to be told this is going nowhere.
I think I voiced my opinion. I personally believe this is not a way forward. This is not how we should be trying to get people working together. This strikes as just what I don't want. However, as I point out, it takes more than one. Vote against that. Do whatever you feel is right.
I think it's too big a thing to vote on flippantly.
Yes.
I think Councillor Hutchinson Jr. is well up on HR, and my knowledge of it is you have to protect your workforce. It is the right of the worker and the employer to do so. This is obviously to try and protect the council as the employer. So what are we trying to get from the criminal law specialist if the council should go to the police?
Mm-hmm.
That's. But surely, even a lay person with no legal knowledge would know if a crime has been committed or not. But then, if you ring the police and the police go, "There's no crime," then you know there's no crime.
Can I comment on that, please, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You know my past.
Yes, that's fine.
I'll answer some of that.
Yeah.
At the moment, when you phone the police, you're talking to a civilian, or most likely you're talking to a civilian who has not had the training a police officer gets. he has not been out on the street facing this sort of thing day in, day out. So he will make that on a decision whether he's got anybody to attend. Now, I know this, the chairman knows what I used to do and when I used to do it. Now, in my day, all right, I'll say, I was in the police force in Essex.
Adrian, let's get back on the agenda.
Yeah, can we?
Please.
And I say that phoning the police, you won't necessarily get the correct answer.
So, but it's a HR dispute at the end of the day. That's what this is. This is what this is. It's protecting the council.
It's protecting the council against potentially a lot more money compared to.
And if you don't do it, you've been advised that you are at risk because you haven't done it.
Yes.
But are you not at risk? Are people not at risk anyway because they haven't dealt with it already and the police have not been called? If a crime has been committed, then a call has to be made. If they turn up or not, it doesn't matter. So, are you negligent in the fact that it hasn't been done already? So therefore negating the point of the criminal law specialist, because he'll just say there has been a crime committed but you haven't done it I know there's no time necessarily on law. I think it's 2 years and the crime becomes, I can't quite remember. My law degree was a long time ago. But I can't see, I don't know enough about it, but from what I'm being given here in front of the people there, is it doesn't quite sit right, and I think the police should just be called and then, because if you think a crime has been committed, then a crime has been committed that needs to be dealt with. The council needs to do everything from a HR point of view to protect their staff. You can't get rid of a councillor because government decides that councillors are, for some strange reason, unable to be got rid of. So therefore, you just, and I tend to agree with spending money that you should just ring the police.
I fully support that. One last one, please.
Yeah, my apologies. So, Section 127 of the Communications Act 2003 is worded as persistent misuse, making persistent misuse of public electronic communications networks cause needless anxiety or distress. I think is the exact wording. It's a 6-month charge, but there's a three-year extension to that. So you can charge it in 3 years. It's an objective assessment. It's going to go before a bench of 3 lay magistrates. It's not tried by the Crown Court. It will go before 3 people, probably with less intelligence than the people in this room, having had experience of the magistrate's court, and they'll look at the words used and make a decision. I think you can make a decision yourself without spending £3,000 of taxpayer money, in all honesty.
Okay.
I don't want to, I do apologise, we can't continue this all night. I think, can we just take a view on it and move on, please?
So in that case then, if people don't want to spend public money but they do want to protect the council, I would suggest that a report is made to the police, as recommended by the HR.
So I'd be happy to do that, than spend £3,000 to get told to report.
But that will mean that our IT company, given that some of the emails have been sent to councillors who are no longer here, will need to access and get all of that information so everything can be sent and an objective assessment made.
I'm fine with the police route. Have we got a vote? Have we got a vote on that?
If we do,
I'll
Is
second
that
that.
all in? Thank you. Right. Let's go. To consider. Right. Okay. Item number 3. To consider and resolve to agree a public press statement addressing recent conduct concerns and councillor resignations. Anyone?
How much more divisive do you want this to be?
Yeah.
For a council you can't get rid of?
Please.
My opinion, for what it's worth, draw a line, move on.
Can I just say something? You probably in the minutes, wasn't it? Last minutes we had. That's what I said last time. I've started this meeting. I've asked to come on board for one reason only. I am sick and tired of all this dispute between councillor and that person and that person. It's got to stop, because this council has got to start working together for the public. I'm personally as tired as this as other people. If I will be working with HR, and I would like to work with Tim and see if we can settle things down a bit and discuss perhaps some sort of counselling or something to maybe calm things down a bit. But I think that's the more professional approach than constant, which I see unfortunately on this agenda, is Tim. It's not the way forward. Isabel.
All I would say is that there have been numerous speculations, etc., on social media as to what the hell's going on. We just need to be honest with people. Put out a statement saying, it is crap. We admit it's crap. We are doing our best to make it non-crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Be honest. Stop trying to put smoke screens up and saying it's all wonderful when it is not. We all know it's not, and people are leaving because of it.
Yes.
So let's just be honest with people.
I'll happily write it.
I'm happy with that personally. I think we
That's
should.
what the proposal was.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just,
There needs to be an acknowledgement.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm
There
happy
needs
with
to be an
acknowledgement, and we could say
But did you say you've only been a councillor for
1 month.
1 month.
So that from a PR spin is the change in the council, is that somebody
Yeah.
completely new who has got no history within the council or even the town per se has come to try and smooth the waters, and hopefully everybody around these tables will smooth the waters.
Yes. And that's the hope.
I think from being on the council for a very long time and having loads of issues and dealing with stuff, what I was trying to do by requesting this item is we haven't been honest with people about what's going on and how bad the situation is and why. And we need to be honest with people. And we also need to be very clear what we're doing to address it and move forward. And I appreciate what we all did at the last meeting of agreeing to move forward. Quite frankly, we all know that didn't work very well. And just putting out a flippant statement to members of the public saying, oh yeah, we've all agreed to move forward, it doesn't mean anything. They know it doesn't mean anything. They see right through it. So, you know, yes, we've elected a new chairman. To be fair, that's positive, but yes, they've seen that all before as well. Let's be very clear what our focus is as a council, acknowledge the mistakes, the problems, the struggles we've got, but also be pragmatic about what we're actually doing to try and put it right. And that's the idea of the statement, is being honest with people, not just putting out a nice PR smokescreen to hope it all goes away, because it won't all go away.
No, that gentleman coming through with another 4 or 5 pages of it in a couple of months' time.
So, yeah, I'm happy with the PR. Becky, if you'd like to write that, draft it around everyone agree on it. Would that be fair? Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah, can I just make one comment?
Yes.
Please, can it be short and sweet?
Yes.
No long verbose steps, just something short and sweet. Get it out. Yes, it's crap. We're trying our best. We've got some new members, we've got a new chairman. We'll carry on and we'll let you know how things progress. End.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yes? Is that in the
I'll propose that.
propose that? Second it? Everyone in agreement? Thank you.
Abstaining. Yeah.
Right, item number 4. To consider and resolve to agree issuing a formal apology to a member of the public affected by unsatisfactory conduct of a recent council meeting. Who wants to start this off? Anyone?
Again, I requested the item. What happened at the meeting, whether we're calling it a meeting or not, we were all there for a purpose, and I personally wasn't there. What happened to this member of the public, we all agreed it's not. Okay. That member of the public has taken a view that the council's tried to cover the situation up and didn't allow them to talk, didn't allow them to speak, etc., etc. Whether that's right or wrong, that's not our decision to make. The problem is, it's caused a problem with that member of the public. It's broken down trust, and I'm not saying that we admit any blame as a council or take responsibility, but I think the right thing to do as an authority is that happened whilst we were going to be, just before we were going to have a habit meeting. If that happened at South Holland District Council just before you going into a meeting, and a member of the councillor kicked off at a member of the public, the council itself would take some, not responsibility, but acknowledge the fact it happened and apologise to that person. and I appreciate there's other things that have gone on previously, and I'm not making a judgment about that. But if you don't be seen to do the right thing and say you're sorry for how they were treated, I think that just perpetuates the issue even further, and it's just going to cause more and more issues further down the line. So draw a line under it, apologise to the person, say we don't consider it as a council to be acceptable, so you're actually making a stand, and then hopefully we can have a much better working relationship with them moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, an apology, yes, but because it weren't actually in the council meeting itself, it's not actually council's responsibility, is it? Or is it not?
Well, it was immediately prior to a meeting, we booked the meeting room, the chair did intervene and told the councillor to leave. How grey,
Sophie, that's in the story.
how grey do you want it to be, and do you want to be pernickety and say, oh,
No,
we're not,
no.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the more we be pernickety about it and saying, oh, well, it's not really us, it was one of our members who did it. You know, ultimately, as an authority, we should be saying what we believe is right or
It's
wrong.
not going to open us up to anything else. I mean,
I think
I'm
you
happy
worded
quite
very
happy
clearly to say that,
to
you
say
know,
sorry,
but you've just apologised for what happened.
But,
They were there attending a council meeting, and that shouldn't have happened to them.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Thank you. I saw some. Did you pick that up?
Just quickly, the only thing that's been asked for is that, if possible, Councillor Timothy Wiltshire apologise for his actions on that day. We all have bad days, we all have things going on, and we all have things that niggle us and upset us. And it was a momentary lapse of what I would normally say would be a conversation that should have happened, rather than, you know, getting very excitable. And so all that's been asked is that an apology comes from Councillor Wiltshire for his conduct during the moments before the meeting, and hopefully that will draw a line over everything moving forward as far as the resident is concerned. Thank you.
Has the councillor been asked to apologise? And will the councillor apologise? Because obviously some transgression has happened.
Okay. I'll get to that in a minute. 2 seconds. Anyone else, please?
Yeah, perhaps we could regret the incident rather than apologise for it.
That's the way of doing it.
Because if we apologise for it, we're kind of accepting responsibility
That's
for it.
my advice.
Yeah.
If we regret it, that's not quite the same.
But I think the gentleman's saying that there is a personal apology wanted.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be.
We've not, no one's asked the parish to
It's a
apologise.
personal apology.
It's the person that's asked to
So
apologise.
I think you might end up
to the
actually just,
person
it's a
and
waste
to
of
the
time.
council.
Yeah.
Can I might add that that particular person didn't apologise to me?
No, but that's what I'm not here to.
No, I'm just stating.
I'm just
No.
purely.
Okay, can I-
asked
Yeah, I'm just saying.
to
Can
put
we-
forward.
I think it's personal opinion if that person apologise. So I will. Tim?
No, I'm not going to apologise.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not going to apologise to somebody who films 11-year-old girls in secret. I'm not going to do it.
Alright, can we leave it at that, please?
Sorry,
In secret.
just to clarify, the agenda item, what I was intending requesting is the council does it, not, I mean, if the individual wants to, fine, that we can't force him to, and that will be dealt with presumably through the monitoring officer anyway. But I think the council as an authority needs to issue something to that individual, because at the moment nothing's been said to them. Nothing's been said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Councillor, you suggested the word regret and a similar along them lines. I'm happy with regret. Does anyone want to second that?
Can I just add something, please,
Yeah.
if you don't mind? I won't write this. I agree with what your decision, but this public member is one of the reasons why I've resigned.
Okay.
And he's reported me twice to the fire service trying to get me in trouble. So I'm actually refusing to write this apology to him on those grounds. And I hope you understand that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's understandable. Okay. So do we have anyone?
I propose we scrap the agenda item. The acting clerk isn't going to write it anyway. Therefore, what's the point? I'm refusing to give a personal apology. Why should the council apologise for saying that he didn't do, was responsible, and didn't happen in a inside a council meeting anyway.
Okay.
I'm happy to propose Paul's wording of that we do regret rather than apology and get this issued. We can draft it between ourselves and circulate it and just, get it sorted as soon as possible before it escalates any further.
Okay. Well, I would like to make it clear, like, that we need to bring these things to an end instead of them going on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So, Sophie, who wants to back that? Who wants to second it? What Sophie suggested? Yes? Anyone? So that's a second. So, anyone else?
All agreed.
All agreed? Okay.
Tim, are you
Against.
against? Peter? Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Right. Right, let's get on to that item. Item 256118. To consider the draft forward plan. Isabel?
Oh, we haven't got one, have we? So, yeah, as time is now 9:10 and we're all getting rather to the end of our tether, there are some very important things that we need to discuss further down. I would say that the draft plan and to resolve to agree the schedule of meeting dates. You do need to agree your meeting dates for 26, 27, but we can defer it to next month, but that is the absolute minimum that you can do it. So you can defer that one, and your revised schedule for your dates of your meetings now. We did say we were going to go bi-monthly. We agreed that at a previous meeting for committee meetings, so we need to stick to that and not keep having meeting after meeting after meeting for no reason. So most of those items are actually irrelevant.
I would welcome public opinion on the item regarding having meetings bi-monthly every 2 months. I think a lot of us are sat here today and there's a lot of items on that agenda, and I just slightly concerned that 2 months might be stretching it, but
It's committee meeting.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't do a full
It's
council
not full
meeting.
council meeting, it was the committee
Yeah.
meetings,
Right.
they said bi-monthly, and we've already agreed that at a previous meeting, so that stands, and unless we're going to change our minds yet again, it stands, so let's stick to it, that's what we agreed,
right, okay.
because it's less work for anybody that's coming into the committees.
If you wanted my public opinion, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Full council needs to meet every month. We used to be bi-monthly and I brought it back to monthly because other things just drag. But in the present circumstance, I would certainly consider scrapping your committees and just doing it all at council. You can have informal discussions by email around, bring it all to council and do it then. Because people, you haven't got enough people to go around all these damn committees. You're sitting here now trying to I'll do it because nobody else is. It's
Yeah.
pointless. Get rid of them. Have working classes and meetings and not committees. There you don't need minutes, you don't need a clerk, you just have a working class.
Thank you for your opinion. We might put that on the agenda for next time and consider it.
Just a quick point, don't stop us over the extraordinary meetings within the community structure itself. Obviously with events, sometimes things crop up close to events we have to make decisions for. So we may need to come in more often than every 2 months to resolve those.
Thank you very much.
So you just need to do, a proposal from Isabel is just to get rid of those agenda items and defer them to
Well, you
next
need
month.
to defer, you definitely need to defer item 2, because you must agree your meeting dates for next year, because we're actually behind, it should have been done in October, we're now in November, so you've got to agree them next month. So you're going to have to set those dates, but that's easy, because they're exactly the same routine as they always are, so it's simple. And then your other things, your forward plan, well, we've got to think about a forward plan, but, there's too much going on at the moment, so it's not really relevant at the moment.
So, vote to defer,
Yeah, I'll second that.
second it. All in favour? Thank you.
You don't get a vote.
Right, where are we now?
So what do you now?
Just make the chairs read the next
Yeah,
sentence.
to agree, yeah.
Okay.
Well done, Sophie's well.
So the reason I appreciate we've had communication from people challenging closed session items before. So the reason items 2 and 3 were in closed session is because obviously Becky had resigned, and at that point that was confidential. It's a staff matter. Becky's put it in a clerk's report, so it's no longer confidential. So all you're really doing is basically deciding what the council's going to do, appointing an acting clerk, etc. I personally don't see that being really confidential anymore, so I don't see any reason why item 2 and 3 can be an open session. Just so we're transparent.
Yeah, so you just need a proposer and a seconder to move them.
How's that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Second it. All in agreement? Right, so we'll move.
Okay, so now you'll do 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 256119 item 2, to resolve and agree to appoint a temporary acting clerk and responsible financial officer to cover a period of long-term absence.
I propose it.
Second it.
When are we going to get on?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, can we get to info on it first?
Sorry.
Right, okay, so basically we've got pretty much a couple of weeks from this meeting until Becky goes. So we haven't got long. We've got one member of staff who's on long-term sick, and then Becky's going. You need to appoint an acting clerk. There are locums that you can get from the Society of Local Council Clerks. They run a service of fully qualified clerks that they basically match you up with somebody who's suitable for your council. It is expensive. We've got a rough estimate, although we have to fill out full form, of about £40 to £50 an hour. Now, noting we're in such a budget problem, I did do some quick calculations. Obviously, you are currently or going to be saving money from other people's salaries who are going. And I won't mention too much about Clark's salary because that's confidential, but you will be saving money there if they remain off. And therefore, you could afford, based on the money you've got, to pay for a person £50 an hour for 20 hours a week. That's what it will cover you. Once you get a bit of stability and we can start moving forward, then HR and the rest of the council can look at what we do in the long term. But you're going to need to get somebody in pretty quick who knows what they're doing to cover things, basically.
Okay.
Do we not sort of start advertising the job ASAP?
So if we go for a locum, we don't need to advertise.
Right.
We fill out a form.
To replace.
We wouldn't be replacing Becky's role. Becky is deputy clerk, and we would need an acting clerk and RFO. But you can't recruit for the clerk's role because you have somebody in post.
Yeah.
So you're doing an acting clerk. You don't need to recruit if you're going for a locum because you will apply through their, a bit like getting agency staff, etc. Apply through their portal.
But could we not get a deputy clerk and then have them be acting clerk? You can't do that.
You can do. If you're going to have to go through a full recruitment process, you're not going to get that done in 2 weeks.
No.
Can we start that process though?
Can we do both at the same time?
Yeah.
You can do, but you wouldn't. So you wouldn't bother recruiting for a deputy clerk if you're going to make them acting clerk. You would get a locum clerk to step in the interim and then put a full recruitment process out for an acting clerk role.
Which I propose we do.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm not quite sure about the clerk. She's been off a little while now, hasn't she? Has HR spoken to her?
It's been hand, yeah.
It is, yeah. So she's been spoken to and she's okay.
Yes.
That's his.
I can update your closed session.
Yeah, but that's the most important thing, as long as she's okay.
We go that proposal?
So a locum clerk for 20 hours a week in the interim, and then we'll advertise a position for an acting clerk RFO for the long term.
Will that keep the council offices open enough for the public to come in? Who will dictate the opening?
So, I mean, we can't guarantee with the locum clerk role whether they will actually be here in person or not, or the most likely
hybrid.
remote. But we have got a assistant clerk / archivist who is in the office all the time, so the office is open.
Okay.
Becky did say, didn't she, she offered to help if we do get stuck getting quite.
Yes.
At last resort.
Yeah, we're on that.
I would like to move on.
now.
Yeah.
Proposal second.
It's the only way forward.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Item number 3. To resolve to agree to a temporary delegation of some of the clerk's delegated powers during periods of absence to ensure continuity of operations and decision making.
So this really is just basically an emergency item if needed. There could potentially be a period of lapse between the deputy clerk leaving and local clerk coming in. At that point, the clerk, and it passes to the deputy clerk in their absence, has a series of delegated powers to basically be able to spend day-to-day money, health and safety decisions, etc., etc. Now we have an admin assistant / archivist and a parks team supervisor. What I'm mindful of is if they need to do anything and there is a lapse, they need to be able to spend the money and carry on as normal. So my recommendation would be to transfer the delegated powers temporarily until an acting clerk is appointed to both the archivist and the parks team supervisor. If that's
Can I add to this?
Yeah,
Yes.
I understand that. But
2 seconds, please. One
Sorry.
time. Carry on.
Yeah, I've gone off my stride now. Have they been asked yet if they want this position? Because obviously, I'm going to say his name.
Yeah,
No.
basically, I was going to say the same thing. Have we actually asked them if they want this responsibility or not?
it hasn't been. We haven't approached them, no, because it's
One
in
of
our
us
discussion.
have question of having that responsibility. I think you know who I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I sort of questioned it in the email, because I wasn't sure where he was going with it.
Yes, there are options, and it's for the council to decide which way forward they want, and then, but it ultimately is an emergency measure.
Yeah.
The alternative option is don't, and then those members of staff will just have to not do anything basically if there is an interim, which puts us in a very dangerous position.
There's no other option.
No, because if you had a health and safety incident and a decision or a suspend needs to be made, you've got nobody to make it.
Okay.
I would suggest not the office member, really, because I think that's too much on him.
That was exactly the point that I was going to make.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you cannot foster that kind of responsibility, or you'll end up with no office person.
No, that's too much for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can a councillor not take on? You can't. No fiscal nor.
No, definitely not.
Right,
No, don't
no
even mention that. No, no, no.
Right.
Okay.
I have no difficulty whatsoever about Dan doing that, as Tim said. I would have some problem with the archivist because he's not got experience. It might spook him. You really don't want to lose the archivist at this stage.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Whilst I
Right.
appreciate
In a
that
minute,
the
I'll
council
add in a
can't
minute, that's
delegate
all right.
these things, nor should they be. I would have thought they could be consulted at least.
That is part of the delegations anyway. There are particular things where you spend the money, you have to consult.
Informed, if you like.
Yes.
And then if that councillor felt it was wrong, he'd come back to the whole council.
I'm
and
sure
say,
we would all work together. The point is
Yeah.
there's certain things, I mean, again, like keys to the office, etc., to be able to access properties in an emergency, that again needs to be delegated to somebody.
Dan's already got a set of keys.
Lovely.
Yeah. it's already
Brilliant. So
sorted.
really it's just covering your spending, etc. The parks team supervisor already has a credit card that they can use, but at the moment with the authority of the deputy clerk / clerk. So all it would be basically doing would be allowing them.
Who do you talk to? Like, who would you get the authority?
So it'd be the same as,
for him?
yeah, so at the moment it's up to £500 regardless.
Yeah.
Only though we've got an agreed budget.
Yeah.
We now do. And then it's up to £1,000 with consultation with 2 councillors.
Right.
Then we do have the emergency one in extreme risk, council services, etc., when there is no budget available. Because if you've got a health and safety issue, you've got to deal with it. But it also includes the decision making on health and safety matters, which being in the open spaces area, he'd be more apt at dealing with.
Becky, I believe, wants to speak. Okay.
I get why you need to do this. I also think it's poor that they haven't been spoken to before this meeting, if I'm honest, as their line manager, because it's a big responsibility. And as much as Dan is a very experienced part-team member, he has no clue about any of the budgets, where to find it all. So you've got 2 weeks for me to show him all that. He's got to get access to it, you know, and at no circumstances can any councillors be looking over his shoulder while he's doing any of this, because you are not allowed to get involved in any of these systems. So, and I will be telling him as such as well. So just to let you know, but I do think you need to have a conversation with him first, because you're giving him an extra responsibility that he's not even aware of yet.
Do you have a suggestion or backup plan? And it is you.
I said I would do some covering in the interim as an external source, yes, on a Saturday morning if it didn't impact on my new employment, yes. In the interim until you get a locum in. I have offered it.
And we do need to look into that.
Yeah.
And can we'll speak after. Yeah, carry on.
I'm sure it's already been looked at. I know you've got to get a proper class, so they know what they're doing to cover. But could you not just employ administration temp to be in the office to do all that with the clerk overseeing? The clerk would only do 10 hours a week rather than 20, and an experienced office administrator you could get from a temp agency would probably be about £20 an hour. That would be a way of doing it, and then that takes the pressure off Dan. Is it
Yeah.
Dan? I don't know who that is, but then that person could be in the office all week and do some of what Becky's done, but the proper clerk overseeing.
I think that's
That'd be
it.
my suggestion.
Thank you. I think it's an excellent suggestion, to be honest. I think everyone's got issues with who's going to do it, etc. I think that's a pretty good suggestion.
Yeah, so I would agree that's a brilliant suggestion, and ultimately I think you've got to utilise the paid professional that's going to cost a lot of money very sparingly, and there are options we can look at. What this is looking at is if there is a delay between Becky leaving and getting that person in, what I would be suggesting is that we needed to agree something and which way forward we were going before I knew which person we had to speak to and what we had to do. If we make an agreement, that offer can be made. We will never ever force anybody to take on responsibilities if they don't want to. But it's going to have to be made very clear to them as employees what the consequences of not doing it is if we do have something happen, in that we won't, they can't spend anything. So it's not blackmailing as such, but it's basically they're going to need to know what the situation is going to be, because it's going to affect everybody. They ought to know, and we've got very limited options as to what we could put in place if there is because councils can't do it. So we've only got a set number of employees, and we're going to have to basically pick on them.
Okay, just to clarify, you have got a situation whereby you've got a park supervisor that has got his credit card, which has got a limit up to the X amount. He can currently go and purchase things from places, but he needs the clerk or the deputy clerk's authority to do so. If the deputy clerk or clerk is not there, he can't use his card. So if he needs fuel, he can't go and get it. If he wants a part to mend something, he can't go and get it. So somehow we need to circumvent that to be able to allow him to do his job. Actually, we're going to have, maybe for a week even, 2 weeks push, a situation whereby they cannot go and purchase anything. And I know it's very kind of Becky to offer, but if she's working full time and they ring up and say, excuse me, I need to go and purchase fuel today, she's not there to give the authority, and she can't give the authority because she's no longer the deputy clerk. So she can't do it.
Can I make a point, please? In your circumstance there, fuel, Dan needs parts, isn't it? So I would worry about conflict of interest. Would there be no conflict of interest?
For what?
I.e., the person wanting fuel and the person authorising that.
There would be, but it's that or you
don't have any fuel.
don't have any fuel. you can't function.
One that's you've got to rely on the staff, and you have to trust your staff. Otherwise, they're not staff that should be working for you anyway. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan
I'll
Dan
think
will.
of it. Yeah, Dan.
One last
Already
comment.
sound as well. Sorry.
Sharp as well.
Yeah.
Just interesting. The business about the clerk having to authorise the spend for the guy, is that your rules? Because it's certainly not rules in our parish council, so why can't you as a council suspend the rule that he has to ask the clerk or the deputy clerk for the next month or so? So you think he's going to do it?
That's what this is.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
You don't need to go to the clerk and have a clerk to do it, he's going to do it, it's a trusting member of
Yeah,
staff.
We're basically
Yeah.
transferring those delegated powers down to.
But it's got to be done.
Yeah, and that may become permanent, because to be honest, that's no less than the clerk have to do it.
Yeah.
Can't you just give all powers over to Dan and just let him to have everything if you don't
That's
want?
the proposal.
Yeah, but you said about having the person in the office having certain powers as well.
No, there's option, so
Could you give it all to Dan and then it's just done? If it ever
the
happens.
point is you've got two members of staff who could, because of their positions, take on that responsibility.
Yeah.
What I didn't want to say to the council is, we're only going to consider one of them.
Right.
Okay.
You've got two to consider, it's council's decision how we do it.
Okay. Thank you.
So can I propose that Dan gets offered it, and if he wants it, then he gets
Yeah.
it?
I'll second
I'll
that.
propose
Yeah,
that.
second that. Everyone in agreement?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But then
Right.
if Dan doesn't want it, we're in trouble.
Yes. We'll cross that.
We're doing it in the closed session, but carry on.
I apologise, I wanted to raise one more thing before you went into closed session. The council will have received a letter before judicial review on the 29th of October, that was from me, as perhaps is now clear. The response to that is due by tomorrow.
Yes.
Is there a response that's going to be forthcoming?
I'm just waiting for our insurers to come back with wording to respond to you. I'm not allowed to respond to
Insurers that are liable for costs if they don't reply.
Yes. It is in hand, but I'm not allowed to communicate with you until they've told me what I can say to you. Sorry.
Sorry, just to ask, I know the insurer said about asking for an extension of time. Have we
Yeah.
asked for an extension
No.
of time?
No, but that's what I'm asking for the wording for. They won't let me ask for the extension. They want me to do their wording, so I'm waiting for that.
Please
So.
be nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice in law.
Right.
Get used to it.
Okay then.
So you just got to read that bit out. Resolve to agree.
Right. To resolve to agree to exclude the press and public under the Public Commission Committee Act 1916, judge confidentiality of the business to be transacted.
I understand you're pretty from
I need to
Perth,
keep it.
but hey ho.
Thank you very much for your answer engagement.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, do your best, yeah.
Yeah, no,
We should, yeah.
You do with something like
I'm not sure I could. I'm not sure I could. Thanks. Take care.
Conflict of interest there.